All right. I think that's going to be the best we're going to get it for right now.
Yeah, this is good.
Okay, so sorry, everybody. I already did the intro, but we can do it again really quick. I'm Michael from the TooMedToo's Star Wars Network, and I'm here with Jason from YAKFACE.com.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me, Mike.
Oh, thank you very much for coming on. I'm having some, I talked to you a little bit about it, but my normal computer's in the shop, and I'm using a notebook right now, and it just doesn't have, it depends on the day or the minute, I guess, whether it has the power to go through this or not. But
yeah, this is working fine now.
Okay, yeah, I'm going through my phone, so it's funny that my cell phone has more power than my notebook or my tablet. But, all right, so Jason, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into Star Wars? What was your first experience with Star Wars? Let's just cover all the bases here.
Okay, let's see. I was born in the mid-'70s in 1974, so I saw Star Wars for the first time in a drive-in theater in, I guess it would have been May of '77. And my first Star Wars action figures were the Luke Skywalker, the vinyl cape Jawa, R2-D2 and C-3PO, and Darth Vader. I got them all for Christmas, that next year. I remember I was only, 3.5 at the time. I'm pretty sure I lost the Jawa blaster that Christmas as well. And I've pretty much ate, drank, slept Star Wars ever since. I've been a fan of everything that has come out. I've collected the entire time. There was those few years there in the mid '80s where there wasn't really anything. I never did the Bendums or anything like that. I stuck with the action figures and vehicles. Like most kids that were born in the '70s and '80s, big fan of also G.I. Joe, Transformers, Mask, He-Man, that kind of stuff. But as far as my Star Wars reporting has gone on, I started way back in the early 2000s just as a contributor on YAKFACE.com and some other sites that aren't around any longer. And then about 16, 17 years ago, I think that was my first real position with YAKFACE.com as just a standard everyday reporter. And then about 10 years ago, I think it's been about 10, I took over YAKFACE.com, and it's been mine essentially ever since. Got a couple other guys that do some reporting and background stuff, run the forums, and as a lot of people know that have followed our site for a long time, we have a lot of customizers that are that follow our group quite a bit. And I think the main attraction right now is a lot of the leaks and spoilers and stuff that we are, try to find and kind of get out there before Hasbro officially reports them and stuff like that. So that's kind of our day-to-day, and our bread and butter is our future and upcoming product reports. All
right. So now you said those were your first figures, and you collected the entire time?
The entire time, yep. The only thing I didn't ever pick up, I've never had a Droids figure or an Ewoks figure.
Okay.
So, but I have everything else from '78 on.
Yeah, I was born in '78, so I didn't start getting my first figures until late Empire Strikes Back, right before Return of the Jedi. So it's 2-1B droid. That's kind of my thing. That was one of the first figures I remember having, and the AT-AT driver. So a lot of your the easier to find ones are even if there's probably Hills or Kmart back then. I don't even know if there was a Toys R Us going around. The ones that were peg warmers or left on the shelves, those were all the ones I was I started with.
Yep.
So that's where when I eventually got into collecting, I went to New York Comic-Con with a bunch of collectors and podcasters, and I kind of got the bug that way. And then I went home and I started ordering like a lot of the ones that I had when I was growing up, not the most popular ones or most expensive ones, but the the ones that had the nostalgia factor.
Right.
And then after that, a lot of the expensive ones and other ones, and well, for me, just starting off as collecting were expensive. Now I just kind of look at them like, oh yeah, it's not really that bad. The original Anakin Black Series, yeah, it's the most expensive one or one of the most expensive ones, but it's really not that much if you're going to compare it to, an Anakin vintage figure,
Right.
Loose, not even to mention, card back or anything.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I grew up with Star Wars my entire life, being that age and having older brothers and cousins and whatnot. Well, an older brother, not older brothers, but so now you have the site, YAKFACE.com.
Yep.
You want to tell us a little bit more about that? You took it over about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But it's been around for about 25 years, correct?
Yeah, since '96, it's been around. I believe that's when it was first launched. There was a bunch of different people that worked on it, and a lot of those people work on other sites now or have moved on in their lives. I know that like Adam Paulus from Galactic Hunter, and he also now works for Entertainment Earth. He was a staff member at YAKFACE.com before I even started. Trying to think who else. A couple people that are no longer with RebelScum.com I believe they got their start on YAKFACE. But yeah, it's been around a long time. We've gone through. There's been over the years as the hobby has changed, and it's gone through a lot of different, just a whole different style. Back when Hasbro used to do reveals through toy sites, we were one of the first sites back in the Power of the Force 2 days to reveal stuff like the Skiff when that first came out. Again, that was a little bit before my official time with the site. But yeah, we've been around as one of the first modern, since '95, toy collecting sites dedicated to Star Wars merchandise.
Yeah, and back when YAKFACE came out, for a couple $1,000s, you could get the entire line of vintage figures. And now,
Right.
what you were paying for the entire line, you're paying for one or two figures now, and that's not even the very very rare ones that have the
Right.
variants of like you have the Vinyl Cape Jawa or R2 or what's the most expensive one? Is it the Vinyl Cape Jawa?
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess if you wanted to, you can't really even count the rocket firing Boba Fett because that's not even really obtainable by the normal collector or even the really dedicated collector. I mean, you don't have a couple $100,000 laying around to throw at a rocket firing Boba Fett, but yeah, the Jawa, the Vinyl Cape Jawa, is probably the most hard to find, at least knowing that it's authentic and not having a repro cape or whatnot. So yeah, I would say that one.
I had Gus Lopez on a couple weeks ago or a month ago or whatever it was, and in his collection, he has a couple of the rocket firing Boba Fett's. He's got the J slot and the regular pull down slot, and I think he might have a prototype of it also.
Probably. I mean, if there's a pinnacle, collector that has, other than Steven Sansweet, he's the go-to person as far as the hardest to find items. And I know a couple of my friends who live out in that area have been to his place and have seen it, and it's really something to witness. Something that have a collection that has that many rare items in it, and really, it's almost like a museum quality collection as far as how it's displayed and whatnot. I'm sure people who know of Gus Lopez have seen pictures, and I think during this whole weird time in our lives, I know he's done like little mini tours, I think, of his collection at his place. So if you haven't checked it out, you really should. It's really something amazing. He's got like an original Death Star. Like it's amazing the rarity of some of the items he has.
Yeah. For those of you in the chat or those of you who are listening on the podcast, go check out Gus Lopez. you can find him on Facebook, and he did daily tours, about, I think, 12 or 15 of them. They range anywhere between 20 minutes and an hour long. Of each room of his house is a tour of something different, whether it's cereal boxes or memorabilia that he's picked up from like props, and then different props. And like Jason was saying, he thinks the only original Death Star model that there is. So he's the only one that has, I think, more that's well known, that isn't like a closet collector that has their collection hidden, is, like you said, Steven Sansweet for Rancho Obi-Wan. But yeah, those are a couple of guys that I want to, when I make it out that way again, I want to definitely hit up Rancho Obi-Wan.
Yep. Just
for the experience, and then guilt Gus Lopez into let me into his house.
Right.
But then, all right. So now, when you were collecting, I'm going to assume that you weren't a completionist at a young age. You were just kind of getting what you wanted when the figures were coming out, or?
Yeah, like it's hard to like. I did have everything going, from the beginning all the way until like Power of the Force stuff came out, because that stuff was always harder to find, obviously. I didn't have like every vehicle and every play set, but I had the major ones, the Falcon, the X-Wing, the TIE Fighters, a couple of the Hoth play sets, the Jabba's Palace. I did get like I got the Skiff one year for Christmas. What else? Like I never had an Ewok Village. I never had the AT-AT. I don't think I even had I didn't have the AT-ST until I was older. What else? But I did, like, I grew up with the cardboard Land of the Jawas playset, and the Hoth one that had the cardboard AT-AT in the background. I think because those were cheaper probably at the time. But yeah, I didn't have every single thing, but I did have most of the I did have most of the action figures. I think it was in the 90s when I finally went back and got my pop-up lightsaber R2 and my YAKFACE, and who else? Probably even the Luke Stormtrooper. I remember seeing that as a kid and passing on it because I had to decide between that Luke and another figure, which I don't remember who it was, but I do remember not buying the Luke. And that was one I had to fill in when I was in my 20s, I suppose. But yeah, I do have a full Star Wars, Empire, Return of the Jedi, and Power of the Force 2, or Power of the Force original vintage set of figures.
Yeah, see, like I was saying, being born in '78, by the time I was old enough to really be getting the figures was after Empire. I kind of had the remnants of Empire and then the new ones from Jedi, but I still had, and I've always loved Star Wars, but went into Ninja Turtles and Transformers,
right?
And those kind of took over. So I honestly don't even know what I have from the vintage collection. They're in boxes at my parents' house. I haven't gone through them.
Yep.
In 30 years or whatever it was since they got boxed up.
Yep.
So, a couple of the really rare ones I remember having, the R2D2 with the pop-up lightsaber. Whether or not I still have it or not, I don't know. And whether or not it has its legs or has stickers, or
right.
The condition really matters on them too. Whether or not I could just have the body, or it's blown up with the fireworks.
Right.
Half a piece.
I do have every single original action figure I've ever had. And those are the ones, and they're all in surprisingly decent shape. Like the stickers are great on the Astromechs, and the limbs are not all loose on most of them. I mean, I was one of those kids that kept track of my stuff. Like I did blow up the occasional Darth Vader and Sand Person figure at the local gravel pit when I was 10, I suppose. But I do have, like I said, I do have all of my originals, and those are the ones I have on display. And my mom, I think, was, I mean, even to this day, she's a pack rat, and she never threw anything of our, I've got 2 younger brothers, and she never threw any of our things away. So I've got boxes for all my original stuff, all my original card backs that I took these the basic figures from. I just have all of that stuff, instruction sheets. I'm not missing any weapons. All my, everything is original. So, all my capes for all the figures, like the Snow Trooper and Vader and Kenobi and Leia, all of those are original. They're not cracked or split or torn, discolored. So I'm really fortunate in that way, where I didn't have to go and replace a lot of those original figures with, decent quality ones, because I trashed mine when I was little. I just didn't do that. I was lucky enough, I guess, to maintain my figures without destroying them as a child.
Yeah, I grew up in Buffalo, so once the snow melted and everything thawed out, I'd find them in the mud and buried from the year before, whatever it was. So that was just, but I mean, that's what I did as a kid. And I didn't get a lot of them because your brother has that one, or that's the same vehicle your cousin has, and they lived around the block from me, so you're always over there playing. And it's like, why do you need 2 of the same thing? Which I wish now I would have had them, and kept them in the box. I never played them.
My brothers and I'm 4 years older than my second youngest brother, and then I'm 8 years older than my youngest brother. So we all liked different things, and so we never shared any of our toys, because we all liked different things. Like one brother was into Ninja Turtles and Batman, the other one was into He-Man. I was more into G.I. Joe, Transformers, Mask, Star Wars. So we just all had our own stuff, and we never really cross-pollinated our collectibles, because we just each had our own thing. And it's great, because I still have, like I said, I have all my original Mask stuff and Transformers and Star Wars. My brothers have a lot of their original Batman stuff. The Batman 1989 stuff is mostly what I'm talking about, and stuff that came after. As far as He-Man stuff goes, I'm not sure about the status of a lot of that stuff. I'd have to go rummage around my parents' basement to see if there were totes of those somewhere. But I do remember an extensive He-Man collection that we all grew up with. We all played together. It's not like we didn't avoid each other and we didn't play together, but we just never had to be concerned about, oh, you got that figure and I don't have it, and now we have to get 2, like you were saying. Yeah,
and then all right, so I mean, I'd say the average toy guys, you just have a little bit more of yours intact, or they stayed intact. Where our buddy Charlie Skywalker, he's got a podcast, Star Wars Through the Ages. He said he used to just blow his up with fireworks, and he would just, his mom would go buy him new ones after they blew up. So that was, I don't know how many he would have had if he didn't blow them up, but so now there's a lot going on right now in the collecting world. Like I said, I kind of I had a few things. It's a really long story. I'm not going to get into it right now, but all my collection ended up in a fireplace one time. So I kind of, I stopped really. I didn't have a lot, but there was a little bit there. And so I started a couple years ago with just a couple Black Series, and then picked up a couple Funkos along the way. Yeah. And I admit that I collect Black Series, and I admit that I have a 7 by 4 foot bookcase full of Star Wars books, not the novels or Legends, but all the other ancillary, whether it be like the art of books or making of books or whatever. So that I have. I mean, I do have quite a bit of Funkos, but I don't collect them. I just happen to acquire them. I think it's about 120. but that's not a collection because, you know, if like I said the other day, or I've said before, if I'm at like GameStop and they have a 3 for $4 on there and I only want 2 pops and I have everything that's on the wall for Star Wars pops, I'm just going to buy the 2. Yep. I'm not going to go and buy the extra one so I can get one for free. That would make me a collector. But, you know, so that's how I differentiate from that. Right. Even though everybody, I don't know if you can see the chat right now, everybody in the chat saying that I do collect Funko Pops.
Yeah. Yeah, I dove down that Funko hole a while ago, and I've kind of worked my way out of it. I was pretty into it for a while. If people have seen different pictures I posted, like on Twitter or Instagram, and I used to have a different office than this. This is currently empty, but I used to have a giant wall wrapped around me on about 3 sides from about mid-wall to ceiling, and there's a couple hundred, maybe close to 300 pops I think I eventually ended up with. I've pretty much only resorted to buying some of the exclusives right now, just because the commons are so easy to get anymore. I didn't feel like paying full price for some of those and to have them just stack up and stack up and stack up. So I've been more selective about the Funko figures I've grabbed.
Yeah, well, I keep deciding that I'm gonna. This is kind of going to what I want to talk about next. I keep deciding I'm going to stop collecting Black Series and go for vintage. And I'm going to sell my Black Series, and then I'm going to stop collecting or acquiring. I don't collect Funkos. I almost slipped up there. Somebody's going to make a soundbite of that and splice it together. And then I decide I'm going to do that, and then they come out. With, like, you can see a couple of them behind me, the 40th anniversary Funko Pops, or new versions from the ones coming out with the Mandalorian, and then they have the newer Funkos coming out with Revan, the KOTOR Revan, and a couple other ones of that, and it's like, well, I got to pick up those, and so it's they keep pulling you back in. I'm waiting for a little lull so I can get out of my system, right, and stop. But with the Black Series, this is one of the big things. So the Black Series, they have new boxes coming out, right? And I don't know if you remember or not, but the other day you had posted something, and I asked you if they're coming out in the new boxes or the old boxes, and you said they're going to be in the new boxes. So
which ones were those? Were you asking about? I don't remember.
Black Series, I don't remember what it was. You had posted that something was rumored to come out, and I asked if it was going to be the old boxes or the new boxes. This was a week or two ago. Okay. I don't expect you to remember. I mean, you get enough people asking questions on your post.
I think it was the Captain Cardinal and was it that group of the Captain Cardinal, the Hondo, and
yes,
those will be in the old boxes. I've seen actual pictures of them, and they are in the old boxes. Okay. The black and red boxes.
Because that was the other question then. If they're going to start putting everything out in the new boxes, do I start, as the new boxes come? Because I think the new boxes look much better than the older boxes.
Yeah, that's the general opinion of it.
So if they're putting everything out in the new boxes and then they just do a repack, do I buy the new one and sell the old one? Or do I store the old one away because now those are the ones that are going to be the collector's items because they're the old edition? But then the market's going to be flooded with them because nobody wants them anymore. So they're not going to be worth anything. So you might as well get rid of them. And this is going to be like 4 questions in one or 4 statements in one. And then what about the archive series? Is that kind of gone?
The archive is not gone. The question is, will they update it from the old? It was only 2 waves worth of figures, but I'm of the opinion I want them to be in the new style packaging, but designated as archive in some way. I think the old Black Series archive served its purpose for the time, being on a carded format, but I don't necessarily really like it. It's really plain, in my opinion. But at this point, I don't know which style packaging they're going to be on. I'd say if I were to bet, I'd say 70% or 80% chance that they're going to be on the older Black Series archive card back. Like the other way.
I mean, because I think that's, I mean, just from being a new collector or a novice collector when it comes to, you know, the whole Star Wars collecting world, and, you know, the amount that I have and my knowledge of it, the archive series don't look good if it's for somebody that's going to keep it in the package. If you're going to take it out, that's fine because they look the same.
Right.
But, you know, even if they did them as like they're doing the 40th anniversaries, where like they look like the old card back, if they would have done it like that, I think people would have bought them then. And they would have been able to sell them. But I think I mean, you might know the numbers better than I do, but I just don't think people are buying the archives because the packaging looked crappy. And the only people that were really buying them were hardcore collectors that were completionists and had to have everything, or people that wanted to keep their regular ones in the box and then have these to do dioramas or have to play with or whatever they wanted to do.
Yep. Yeah, it was, you know, they kind of established that Black Series archive line is a way to get out harder to find or popular older figures back into the market, you know, like getting the bounty hunters back out there as far as IG-88 and Bosk, and getting that Anakin back out because it was so popular and the aftermarket price of the original one was so high. You know, they got that one back out. And even I think what was it? I guess it'd be the Luke Skywalker X-Wing pilot. You know, that was really popular on the vintage collection, or on the vintage looking card back. And it was one of the first figures to come out in the Black Series, black and orange packaging. So I think, you know, that was a way to get it out there so people, again, wouldn't have to open either of those older ones, like you said. So, yeah, it's just kind of I don't mind the line. I like it. I admittedly picked all of them up. And again, Darth Maul was another popular one because there was a lot of fakes out there, you know, bootleg ones that come from overseas. So getting that Maul back into the line was a big benefit to collectors that didn't want to go back and try to hunt down an original one and not get screwed over as far as being tricked with a fake or something like that.
Yeah, that's another one of my issues. When I came home from con, I just went on eBay and I thought I was getting good deals on a lot of these Black Series I was buying, and, you know, didn't have any way to gauge the price. So if I found one for $30 and there was, you know, one for 30, one for 40, one for 50, I got the $30 one, not knowing that it's worth 15. And it's the same person selling it at 30, 40, 50, just so they can get double their price. And then, so yeah, I you know, it was a quick learning lesson for me with, and then, you know, figuring out how to, and talking to people, how to get the right prices and where to look for them. But, you know, and then also, you know, whether or not I have fakes or not, I have no idea how to tell. I don't, you know, have that knowledge or that expertise. They're just, you know, hopefully the $100 ones or $120 ones I have are real and, you know, not worth $12.
Yeah, there's little telltale signs on what to look for. Some have weird paint on, you know, some of the faces. I'm specifically talking about Darth Maul. Some have weird marks on the box. As far as being a repro box, you could tell that it's a bootleg. The font is wrong for like the name and number on the figure, and there's just a few different telltale signs. You could, if you're a member of any of the Facebook groups out there that are dedicated to Black Series, it's pretty easy to find out that information if you are concerned about yours being a bootleg.
Oh, that's all right. So, and then we have a lot of the newer figures coming out. Like, there's more coming out right now than we've ever had before. I mean, I think this year alone being released, I mean, even getting rid of like the 40th anniversary line, there's like 25 or 30 of them coming out.
Right.
And then you add in the 40th anniversary line. I mean, so there's, it's probably not that far off if I say there's probably 50 coming out this year.
Yeah, it's I'd have to look at everything because my list and my brain is so far ahead with some of the stuff that's planned for 2020, you know, late 2020 and 2021 that it all just kind of runs together for me at this point. But it does seem like a heavy product release year. Like I said, from Black Series and having about 3.5, 4 waves of vintage collection, and you count exclusives and convention exclusives. It's a pretty heavy year for being a non-movie year, really. I mean, and considering what else is going on in the world, it's kind of surprising. I think things were kind of light previously because I think they were still trying to figure out what to do in terms of the license, because that was coming up for renewal. This year, I think. So products might have been a little bit lighter in coming out. So, but yeah, like you said, there's a lot coming out this year. Oh, and there's a lot. If you're a completionist, it's really it's an expensive year. But if you're one of those collectors that likes to pick and choose, there's a lot of variety too to choose from. Whether it's original trilogy or Clone Wars or The Mandalorian, there's a lot of options out there for any collector.
Yeah, I'm not a completionist, but right now, since I've started more of the collecting, I'm kind of getting everything that comes out. I'm getting it. Ones that I think I'm really going to like, or I think are going to be hard to get, that I'm in a couple collecting groups. I'm getting 2 of, like, if it's off of GameStop and GameStop says the limit's 2, and they sell out in a day or whatever it is, I pick up 2. That way I can, gift it to a friend, or, I'm not one of those people that likes to resell to make money.
Right.
Which was something else I want to talk to you about too,
Sure.
later on. But yeah, so it's like, and then like this, I have ordered, I kind of use everybody depending on when they say they're going to come out and if there's a deal going on. So whether it's GameStop or Entertainment Earth or Amazon, or, I don't have just, some people just stick to one place. I'm kind of all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I have my, the second wave of the 40th anniversary Empire Strikes Back was supposed to be here by today, and I just got an email saying that it's already shipped, but it won't be here till next Monday.
Right.
And then it's like I have a case coming of the second wave of whatever it is, 23, whatever the wave 23 I think is the last one to come out, or 24.
Right.
The second set of those. I have a case coming of those, and I tell myself the ones I don't want I'll get rid of, but I'm going to probably end up keeping them unless there's something I really don't like.
Yeah, that happens often too. Like, you'll justify buying a couple of each, saying, "Well, I'll use it as trade bait later," or I'll get rid of it if I know someone's really looking for one, because people, I don't, depending on people's familiarity with who follow you and also follow me, I buy and help out people all the time online via Twitter or Instagram or Facebook. If I see something in a store and I know someone is looking for it, and I might not even know this person, they might just say, "Hey, they might private message me on Twitter or Instagram. They're saying that they're looking for it." I'll reach back out to that person, since it might be the last person I remember saying needed one, and I'll offer it up to them for cost plus shipping. It's just like I help out people all the time in that way.
Yeah, that's what with the one collectors group I'm in. That's what it is. Or with the pandemic going on, with me being in New York City, it's hard to find some things. And I was walking by a Walgreens, and I was like, "Oh, I'll just stop in there." And there was all the Trandoshan thugs for the Mandalorian line, and so I picked them up. I knew people wanted them,
Mm-hmm.
so I just grabbed them all, and then I went and said, "Hey, who wants them?" It was first come, first serve.
Right.
And then a month later, I was going by a different one and grabbed them all, and I'm like, "Well, I don't know if anybody wants them or not, but I'll at least have them to giveaways or trade or something." The worst case scenario, if I have a bunch of merchandise left over that I'm not going to use, I don't have to buy anything for the Kessel toy run, at Christmas time, I can just donate to that. So, you know, that's the worst case scenario. And if that's the worst case scenario is donating to, you know, a good charity or a good cause, then you know, I can handle that.
Yep.
But okay, so I do want to talk about the vintage line because I haven't really gotten into that yet. But
okay.
What is your opinion on, so today with Funkos, the San Diego Comic-Con has been released, or they're starting to release some of the exclusives on there.
Right.
And one of them you can only get if you are a donator to, I don't even know what it is. You have to donate to Comic-Con, or you have to donate to the Comic-Con Museum, at least $500 before you can even be eligible to buy one of the pops. And I know a lot of people were upset. I mean, there's only 1,000 of them.
Right.
And you know, with the Funko Pops that, you know, like the San Diego Comic-Con one last year, $12 to buy or $15 to buy, it was $75 immediately, or $150 immediately.
Yep.
Online. And I was like, well, I'm going to wait. The price is going to go down. And I, you know, a couple months later, it was up to 300. I looked a few months ago, it was 900.
Right.
And then right when we had this pandemic hit, they went up to like $1,500, $2,000.
Yep. Because
people started getting some government money in and had this extra money, and people were like, I can buy Funko Pops now. And then the price of a lot of the prices went down because people were trying to get money that they needed. And other people were like, well, I got this money I don't need. So the expensive ones kind of went up in price. So it's like, I think this one specifically that, you know, they're only doing 1,000 of, that they're saying you have to be part of this Comic-Con museum or whatever it is. You know, I can kind of see both sides of it, because you're going to stop the scalping of them, or the people are going to scalp them. You know, I might as well just go donate $500 to this if I can be guaranteed one, because I can probably get $2,000 for it, because instead of being $50, or instead of being, you know, $20 and selling it for $200 right off the bat, I can pay $500 for it and then another $20 for it, and then charge $2,000, and people are going to buy it because people want it. Yeah. So, you know, maybe I should do that. Maybe I should donate $50 or $500 to it, and then, but you know, that's their thing. I don't know if they're guaranteed to get it, or if you're then put in a pool. If you're, you know, I mean, that might be the other thing about it, which, you know, I think for the regular collector that's trying to get them, or has somebody that, you know, can go pick them up for them, it's really crappy they can't get it, but it's also going to stop down on the scalping. But, you know, like I just said, there's ways around that scalping depending on how it works out. Right. You know, if you go to like New York Comic-Con, I'm just using that because that's the one in my backyard. You know, somebody can buy the pop there for $15, and automatically there's people outside buying it off of them, or there's groups of people that are going in together and selling them together, and they're, you know, $150 each, or you know, whatever it is. So they're, you know, they're making their money anyways. But I was just wondering what you thought about, if you had heard about the $500. I don't think Funko gets the money. I don't think it's a Funko thing. Right. I think it has something to do with, you know, like I believe I read a Comic-Con museum, or like San Diego Comic-Con museum, or something along those lines. Yeah, I hadn't heard about I knew that their reveal started today, and I didn't see any of the anything for Star Wars yet, so I really wasn't paying attention to some of the things that were revealed. So yeah, I hadn't heard about that one, but I mean, like you said, I mean, whether you spend $500 to get it that way through donating to a charity, or you spend $500 in the aftermarket, I'd rather do the $500 going to the charity thing. But then I've never been one to chase those really expensive pops. Like, I'm just fine. I'm just completely happy with the ones that are shared exclusive, saying, you know, they're going to offer it. It has a special sticker at San Diego Comic-Con, but you can get it with a different sticker at Target. I'm totally fine with the one that has the, you know, the shared exclusive sticker. I've never felt the need to chase down those event only stickered boxes. Yeah, the only one I really did that with was the ones from Celebration, because it was my first Celebration that I was at, and I just wanted it with the sticker. Right. So I waited till the price went down to, you know, 30, 40 bucks. I think the one for 30, and then somebody else found the other one for 40. And, you know, I could have got them for $10 each without the sticker, but it just for the, you know, once again, the sentimental value on it.
And which celebration was that you're talking about?
Chicago.
Okay.
So yeah, so I got them all in the Watto one.
Right.
And I couldn't get them there. You know, I knew a couple of people, like Corey Van Dyke got in line, and he got his, and he got he bought all of them, and he turned around and sold the blues for $1,000 on the spot right then. You know, it cost him $70, and he got them all for $1,000. And, you know, now it's $400 for the line, but that's the whole, you want to be able to be the first one to have it when you're the collector and say, hey, I can get it. But, you know, if you can hold out a little while, usually, I mean, what I've learned is it's going to be better for you if, you know, you just kind of wait. And, you know, you can wait, you know, unless you have, you know, those rare ones, like I said, the San Diego one that's, you know, now $1,200 or $2,000 or whatever it was. Most of them do eventually go down in price if you can hang on that little while.
Yep.
All right. So the other thing I wanted to talk about, we have a lot of the vintage collection coming out.
Right.
And we just got, all right, I'm going to try something now. I wasn't planning on using my phone. So, all right. I had my phone sitting against my computer to use it, and it was running out of battery, so I had to go grab the charger for it really quick. That's why I put it off. But now we'll see if that works, how well that works, or if we got to go back to the computer. But yeah, anyways, so we have a lot of the new vintage coming out, and there's ones that came out with some funny names. If you're not from Canada or don't know Canadian geography.
Right.
So those are all going to be Empire Strikes Back one, like from Hoth?
Not necessarily. They are, as far as I can say, or as far as I know, they're from all over the saga. So it's not just from one. They're not just from one film. Like the ones that we're talking about, they have names like Quebec and Nova Scotia and what was it? New Brunswick and Labrador. Yeah, there's a bunch of them, and there's more to come. I haven't found the couple things I need to be able to post them unofficially yet. So, but there are more coming. Different code names again altogether. None that are related to any of the 20 that I have listed here. That they're a different code altogether. So I don't know who they are, but it's a lot. It's kind of amazing how, you know, for people that have followed the vintage collection and collect it, whether passively or aggressively, have been wanting more and more vintage coming out. And, you know, Hasbro likes to spread out the news throughout the entire year and give little drips and drabs. And there's been this whole movement regarding, you know, we want more of the vintage collection product out there, more variety, more stock, more availability. And, you know, over the past few weeks, I've been putting out these figure lists that I've been able to find using the Walmart app. And I think it's helped to alleviate some of the frustrations that some of these collectors have regarding there being so little new vintage collection product out, that it kind of gives them hope that over the next, you know, 8 to 12 months that we're going to get at least 30 new, well, not all of them will be brand new. I'll say that. They'll at least be 30 vintage collection items to come out over the next year or so. So I think that's hopeful for a lot of collectors that have been feeling neglected when there's so many Black Series reveals and then there's so few vintage collection ones. I think this will help kind of alleviate some of those fears that the vintage collection is neglected in some way.
I mean, yeah, because not even as a vintage collector, I mean, there's more, you know, like there's more Black Series coming out than there is vintage collection. And, you already have these ones. And, I don't know if they're afraid if they put out too many vintage that they're going to go through the vintage. They're not going to have anything left. But, I mean, it would be the perfect time to, once you start going through the majority of your vintage, start doing some of your other variants that you had.
Right.
And, like I had the guys on here from Holo Chronicles, Andy and Josh, and they do a podcast about collecting. And I asked them, like, how many variants are there of certain ones? And they said, that depends on what you're going to talk about. Are you talking about like the Yoda vintage figure that there's 3 different ones or whatever, because it's the snakes that are different? Or are you going to talk about, ones that have different colors, that the different blues, or one's brown or instead of blue? And do you really consider that then to be a variant, or is that just a different paint job because they're mixed in different batches, or however you want to talk about it? So that's the other thing too, like what you consider. I'm sorry, I'm still messing around with this.
All right.
What you consider to be, a variant is the actual, they made a different one, like with the Han with the regular head and the Han with the big head, that
Right.
you have a variant there with a different head, or is it the shading of it? Because if you get in the shading of it, they said that you could have 10 or 15 easily of one figure, just, the paint being different, just being matched a little bit different, and they just produce it when they pump out the plastic. So what are you really gonna, consider it there or talk about it there?
Right. Or you have like the Bespin Luke with the yellow hair, the brown hair, the orange hair. You have the different, the Hoth Rebel Trooper, like the different shades of paint used for the face. There's kind of like a pinkish color and a yellowish color. It's like you said, there's different ways to count variants based on, who you are. It's like there's so many different ways to go about it. Painted legs or cast, if the plastic was cast in that color, or were they painted that color, that's a different way to look at a variant as well. So yeah, you could easily take an action figure line of 300 or of 96, let's say, if we're just talking about the vintage collection. And if you add the variants on, you could easily double that with the number of variants that are potentially out there for each one. If you go by paint shades and plastic cast piece shades, it could get pretty expensive, and it could get pretty involved as far as the number of figures you could actually get, depending on how you count them.
And I just want to apologize for the people in the chat. I know I usually try and highlight your comments or put them in there, but right now with the lag I'm having, I don't want to put any more undue strain on the computer, or by the time it takes 15-20 seconds for it to show up, we're already talking about something else. But I will try and see if I can get you guys on here. I know that Jason's got to go shortly. He only had about an hour. So
I could go for a little bit longer.
Okay.
15-20 minutes.
Okay, so I'm going to try and see if anybody wants to come on here. If we can get anybody on here, that's the other question too.
Sure.
Let's see. I'm trying to get to the invite here. So now, what are you most excited about, or what is your main, like, if you could only collect one thing from now on, if you had to pick a line, like, for whatever reason, you're only allowed to get Black Series, you're only allowed to collect the new vintage that's coming out, Funko Pops, would you go to, more along the Gentle Giant route and get, go into like the statues or something like that, if you had to just pick one thing, or is there something other than Gentle Giant that you'd recommend?
Let's see. If I had to decide right now where to make my, to plant my flag, I would say I would give up Black Series and stick with vintage. It's the longest running action figure line that there is, as far as being dedicated to one fandom. And it's what I grew up with. It's the scale that is most prevalent in my collection, just because it's been around for 40 years. I would have to, as hard as it would be, I would definitely choose the vintage collection. If I had my choice on starting maybe a new collection, I would go with Hot Toys, probably, just because of the detail and just the quality of those figures. If I was going to make a switch and say, this is what I only going to collect, I might choose that. I do have a few Hot Toys. It's not something I pursue by any means. I do have some, and some of the Sideshow collectible 12-inch figures, or 6 scale. But yeah, vintage collection would be my first choice.
But you already have the original vintage collection. That was so
right.
It's just the yeah. I don't know what I would do, because nothing. I think I might get into the going along the lines of Hot Toys or Gentle Giant or something like that. You know, so that, I mean, because you think about it, if I stopped buying Funko Pops and Black Series, and you know, whatever else I was getting, I could buy all of the new Hot Toys that come out, and it would just cost the same amount of money a year, probably.
Right.
You know, it's just the fact that when you see, you know, Hot Toys comes out with one, you know, for $250, well, that's 10 Black Series.
Yep.
Or you know, whatever it works out to be, or 10 or, you know, 20 Funkos. And you know, you do that 3 or 4 times or 6 times, however many times they come out, and then they set up payment plans. You have 2 years to pay it off before it comes out. So you know, that might be the way to go.
Yeah, that was the best. That was one of the best things that Sideshow ever did, was having that payment plan, because I picked up several Hot Toys using that plan. You know, the different Lukes from the sequel trilogy I've grabbed, and the most recent Rex, and I bought the life-size the Child from the Mandalorian, using those plans. So it's a nice way to go about it, where you could budget your collection and not have a giant hit all at one time.
And then, what is your? There was a question there. Who's your favorite character?
My favorite character is Yoda. I have a Yoda Focus collection in my toy room, I'll call it. It was one of the figures that most captivated me when I was a kid, and it's just been with me ever since. So I have a lot of individual Yoda items. I also have a Focus collection for prototype Boba Fett. I try to pick up every bit of merchandise that features that particular look. But I've got other favorites too that I wouldn't say that they're a Focus part of my collection, but everything Luke Skywalker is really hard to pass on, just because he's the main hero of the entire deal to me. But yeah, Yoda's my favorite character.
Now, does that include like Baby Yoda, or is that?
You know, Baby Yoda's new. I think it's great. I mean, it brought in a whole nother level of fandom and new fandom, which I think is what, you know, obviously the franchise needed. It's a great character. It's a mysterious character, and it's cute. I was blown away when it was first revealed. I couldn't believe that Lucasfilm actually did that. But yeah, I enjoy the Child, and Baby Yoda, as he's affectionately called.
Yeah, my girlfriend doesn't. She grew up watching Star Wars with her brother and her dad, but she's seen the original trilogy. She hasn't seen anything since then. I finally got her a couple weeks ago or a month ago to watch. She agreed to watch a movie with me, so I was like, okay, we'll watch Solo, because that way it's easy. I don't have to explain anything. It's kind of, you know, it's a standalone movie.
Right.
There won't be a lot to talk about. I just got her to start watching The Mandalorian yesterday, and it was the second episode, and she said, "Oh, The Mandalorian's a person. I thought it was a ship." now I know what people are talking about.
Right.
She has no idea. So it's like,
Yeah.
you know, she probably knows or is more confused about things than most people, because I talk to her about Star Wars all the time. And
Yep.
she probably gets about 3 or 4 words into it and just ignores me then. But I just keep talking. She's like, you know, I'm not listening to you. I'm like, I don't care. You know,
Right.
it's fine. I get to talk about it.
Right.
So, you know, that was the other, like, explain to her. She's like, well, Baby Yoda. I was like, well, you know, it's not really Baby Yoda. She's like, yeah, it is. I said, no, it's not Baby Yoda. Yoda's dead. This takes place afterwards.
Yeah. My wife tolerates my fandom. You know, over the past, I mean, it's gotten progressively, like you said, with The Mandalorian that came about, she was slightly interested in there being a new Star Wars show. She loves the sequel trilogy, as do I. And I sat her down to watch The Mandalorian. And as soon as the first episode ended, she was absolutely hooked. She was like, when's the next one coming out? She needs more. And she absolutely loves the show. And like I said, it's one of those things that Baby Yoda did. It brought in a whole nother era of hopefully future collectors, but also fans of Star Wars. Because now they'll go back and, oh, what does this mean? You know, there's these references to stuff that I will explain to her, and she will, and then I will say, we could watch this to get a little bit more of the backstory, and so, like with the Darksaber at the end, spoiler alert, she didn't know what that was about, so we went back and watched that arc with it during the Clone Wars, and things started to, you know, layer upon layer. She understands my crazy obsession with this whole Star Wars franchise. Well,
I'm hoping with the Mandalorian, I can get her then into some of the other things, and then I'm just going to start with, you know, the prequel trilogy, and, you know, go from there, go straight through, and hopefully I can get Padme in her costumes and show her the, you know, the Dressing the Galaxy book that I just picked up.
Yep.
And you know, the first episode, she was just watching it to, you know, she doesn't want to watch stupid Star Wars. Why does she want to watch Star Wars? It's stupid. I was like, well, listen, you said the same thing about you know, Sons of Anarchy. You didn't want to watch about motorcycle gangs and drugs, and you were hooked after an episode or two, after I finally got you to start watching it. You know, and the same thing with Game of Thrones. And it's like, you know, once I can get her to start watching something, we're good. And after the first episode of Mandalorian, she was only half paying attention. And then, you know, the second episode, she started making noises about it, like, oh, and I was like, all right, now we're going.
Right.
So, you know, hopefully after this, if it's not too late, depending on what happens, you know, with the late night crowd and opening, I always open up merch afterwards. So I have some merch to open up after this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I have a couple books. I have, actually, they're mostly books. I'm waiting on a bunch of Black Series. I'm waiting on the second wave of the 40th anniversary, the second wave, or the second group of whatever it is, wave 23 or 24. And then we got 2 more coming out on the second that should be coming in. So in the next week or so, I should hopefully be getting about 15 or 20 of them.
Right.
That's just why that happens. And then Flex AJ Knight wants to know if you have an idea when Hasbro will reveal the Cad Bane convention exclusive, and do you know if the Cad Bane set will be revealed as well at the same time as we get Cad Bane?
I will say that the Star Wars stuff should be revealed within the next week. I think that's safe to say. And also, all of the Star Wars stuff will be revealed within the next 7 to 10 days, I would guess.
Okay. And then what's the deal with the Galaxy's Edge Target thing that they got going on? Is that going to be revealed also, or is that,
I don't know.
Like, I don't have any of the Galaxy's Edge exclusives. I'm gonna have to give one of my friends that go there all the time, just, you know, send them some money and be like, here you go, here's the money when you're next there, just buy the, you know, send them $300 and get the couple sets they have there. I think that should cover it, right? Whatever they have there.
Yeah. Yep. They're about 70. The 3 sets are 70 each. So.
Okay.
Oh
yeah.
But yeah.
Send that down to them, and then that will cover shipping too.
Yep.
And, you know, have those, because I was planning on buying them at Celebration, but I'm not going to get there. I tried to convince my girlfriend to go to Disney World when they open in a couple weeks, and she told me I was fucking crazy. So, but I was like, yeah, but it's Galaxy's Edge. It's the only place I want to go. Well, I'll be wearing masks anyway. So,
right.
Anyways, I'm sorry. Let's get back to that question. I go on some tangents sometimes.
That's
I ramble.
As far as the Galaxy's Edge stuff, I don't know when that's going to be officially revealed. I would guess it's going to be part of the whole San Diego Comic-Con announcements that will come during that time. The product, I believe, is supposed to be out in August, even though it's already started shipping to the US. So the things that it includes are, like I mentioned before, there's a Captain Cardinal, which is also part of the Black Spire book, I believe. There's a Hondo Onaka, which was in one of those 3-packs. And then there's the Mountain Trooper, which was in another one of the 3-packs. There is a vintage collection Millennium Falcon that is coming, that is based or tied to the Smuggler's Run portion of the Galaxy's Edge Park ride. And there's couple other action figures and stuff, whatnot. This is all part of Galaxy's Edge and Disney's partnership with Target. There are a few stores in the US right now, I think about 25. They're going to be adding more stores to this that have a special designated Disney store inside of them, where they sell, you know, not only Star Wars, but stuff from the other, you know, Pixar movies and the Disney princess stuff and whatnot. So like I said, there's about 25 stores in the US currently that have those little mini Disney stores inside that sell official Disney merchandise. And this Galaxy's Edge merchandise will be a part of that program. So it's just a matter of time before it's officially announced or pictures unofficially leak of the product at those stores.
All right, I need you to do me a favor. If you find out if any of those stores are in New York City, you need to let me know. Or do I just go to the Disney store in New York City? Because the Disney store in New York City doesn't always have they don't have the Galaxy's Edge exclusives.
Right. And I'm not sure how this partnership works, where are the standalone Disney stores in malls going to be carrying this merchandise too? I don't think so. That's just my opinion. I have no idea if that's true or not. You know, because of everything being shut down for this spring and summer, I think this is just another way to get this merchandise out there to people that live around the US. Obviously, Target stores are more accessible than Disney park stores, but again, not all Target stores are going to offer it. So I think there's going to be, you know, 300 or 400 Target stores that are going to have this, from what I understand. So
for Black Series itself, if you had to guess, or you already know, or a combination of both, how many figures do we have coming out that haven't been announced yet between now and Christmas?
Between now and Christmas, let me look at my list.
That haven't been announced, because I already have the carbonized ones already ordered that don't come out until Christmas. A couple other ones that don't come out until August or whatever it is. So there's probably like another 10 coming out between now and Christmas that they've already announced.
I've got on my quick glance, on my list here, there's probably 15 to 20 on the high end, if you count exclusives, that are yet to come before Christmas.
Okay, so I need to stock away another $400 for those.
Right.
We'll see, because I decided I was going to use my part of my celebration fund, and I've actually been swiping it off that celebration fund, assuming that was going to be canceled, to buy some other things to keep up without having to go into savings on that. Well, different savings.
Right.
And then, you know, I'm gonna go to depending on how things are in the world. I'm planning on going to D23 next year, which I wouldn't have done, but now I'm gonna go to, and then I have 2 years to save, or 2.5 years to save up for 2022. So I'm also gonna go to Ireland next year.
Nice.
Or England next year. So I'm gonna go in July, take my girlfriend there for her birthday. Even though she's like, "Oh, you're taking me for my birthday, you're gonna pay for the whole thing." So no, we're splitting it half and half, but we're gonna go for your birthday. You know, that's the time we're going for. I can't afford all that, and you know, then come home, be home for a couple weeks, then go to D23, and then come home, and then I got a full solid year of saving for Celebration.
Yep.
I might have to stop collecting other things then, but you know, we'll see how it all goes. You know, it all depends what's going on in the world.
Yep.
We have another question here from Flex AJ Knight. Have you seen the images of the Clone Trooper set yet?
I have not.
Okay.
So I don't know who's in it. Even if I haven't seen it, if I knew who was in it, I would say who was in it. But I don't know who is in it.
Okay. I posted the link in there if anybody wants to try and come in here and chat for a couple minutes before he's got to leave. I don't know if there is, but the other thing, I'm horrible because I never do show notes.
Right.
But I actually made a couple notes, but they're in my phone right now, and I can't use my phone because my phone is my camera, because that's the way the world is going right now. HasLab has announced we have a new HasLab thing coming out.
Right.
Any idea what it is?
No idea. Nope, no idea. I have some ideas of what they could do, but I know nothing unofficially about what Hasbro's planning. What people may or may not know is I have absolutely zero contact with anyone who works for Hasbro. So all of the news that I stuff and post, I either find it or I get a tip here and there, which I could then research and dig out information that's publicly accessible for the most part. Like everything that I post regarding finds on the Walmart app, and through whether it's Black Series or Vintage Collection, or even the stuff through Target, anybody can do it if you know where to look. So, and know how to do it. So yeah, I have no Hasbro contacts whatsoever since about Rogue One is when I lost access. So
yeah, because the other thing, I know a little bit what you're talking about, because it's the same thing when, like, if I go to GameStop, I've got a GameStop on my house, and I was just going there because it was easy, it was convenient. I could just say, here you go, let me put in the order. Here's $5. I don't have to worry about it. I can order 10 things. It costs me $50, and over the next month, I can put aside $20 each week, and they're paid for when I go to pick them up, or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to worry about it coming out of the bank and the girlfriend seeing, well, how come you took out $200 for a GameStop today, and whatever it is. She's probably listening in the other room, or she told me the other day, she's like, you can't see when I'm watching you. I said no. She's like, oh, I thought you could tell. I was like, no. I was like, so anytime you hear me talking trash about you, I already knew you were watching me though. So yeah, anyways, my tangent's done with. Like I found out then that other things too, like a lot of times if they from GameStop, if you have the sell by date, so they have stuff in store, and GameStop usually doesn't get it, but other places do. But I got the 40th anniversary Yoda in his hut, and it came in. I had pre-ordered it, but it was before the sell by date.
Right.
And they called me and they told me, they said, hey, we have this for you. And I was like, oh, it doesn't come in for another like 4 days or whatever it is. And nobody had them online yet. There was no videos of them. Nothing happened. And I went and picked it up, and I called my buddy who's in my collecting group, and he called GameStop. They're like, no, it's not for sale yet. And he went to the store and he said, listen, my buddy just bought one.
Right.
Just got it. And according to them, if someone sells one early, it unlocks in all the GameStops.
Right.
So my claim to fame for that, like I made the video, it's like I have the first one. I unlocked them for all the GameStops in you know, in the United States because somebody made a mistake.
Right.
Not that it really matters because, you know, it's just, you know, it came out 2 days early or 3 days early, and then the people that already knew or got theirs. So it's not like it came out weeks earlier, months earlier, or anything like that. Or no one even knew it was coming out because it was, you know, so it wasn't even a sought after pop. You know, after it came out, it was sought after, but at the time it wasn't a big deal. No one even knew that it was there. So by the time it would have even caught on, they were already out. So it wasn't really that big of a deal. There was a question here, I think, about a Rancor. I'm not sure what it was. Oh no, that was just people talking in the chat. Okay. So now with see, I just you're supposed to be here talking. I'm just going on tangents. I need a friend to reel me back in sometimes. So what do you, if you had your choice, what would you guess they're going to do for HasLab? Or what would you want them to do for HasLab?
What would I want them to do? I would like them to, I would like them to do the Razor Crest for the Mandalorian, but I don't want them to do it for HasLab. Like I want that to be more accessible to every collector. I don't want to have to pay $500 to get a Razor Crest, but if that's the only way we're ever going to get it, then yes, by all means, make it through HasLab. I would like to see them do the Blockade Runner as a large vehicle. I think there's some cool possibilities with that. You know, make it large enough for 3 3/4 figures where you could have removable sections and have the hallway where they could fight. You know, you could use it for Rogue One or you could use it for A New Hope, but be able to recreate those iconic scenes from both those films by having a Blockade Runner playset, I think, or vehicle / playset. I think that would be pretty cool. Because I know, you know, back in the day there was a mock-up of a Blockade Runner done by Kenner. I'd like to see that finally realized after all these years. I think that would be my number one choice, I would say, outside of the Razor Crest.
I mean, but like they can't obviously do it to scale for the 3 3/4, but you just want to make a couple compartments where they could be like,
like make it. You can make it the size of the barge, and I think that would be large enough to accommodate most collectors' needs. I think it's, granted, it should probably be bigger, but I think that's a good scale.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know. You know, you're talking about, if you're going to make it to scale, you're talking about, I don't know, 100 feet long. So I mean, you can never really do that. But
for the vintage collection,
yeah.
Would the Blockade Runner be that long? It would have to be. Trying to think how long. I'd have to see the comparison between how long the barge is as compared to the Blockade Runner.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll do the math on that, and I'll look that up tonight or tomorrow, and I'll post that for you.
Yeah. Cool.
See, you got somebody to work for you now.
All right.
Yeah, I got that library. I might as well use it. That's a couple weeks ago, or longer than that. Somebody posed a question, and we all knew the answer to it. But I spent all the time doing like a book report. You know, pulling out 20 different books and be like taking a line from here and there and be like, okay, we already knew the answer, but here you go. It was actually whether or not Boba Fett was a Mandalorian or not.
Right.
You know, and then you take the Episode 1 encyclopedia. It says Jango Fett's parents were Mandalorian, which makes him a Mandalorian. If you take what we know from the Mandalorian show now, but that's slowly, as the volumes went on, kind of disappeared, that lore. And then it went to, you know, Boba Fett didn't even have Mandalorian armor.
Right.
You know, it looked like Mandalorian armor, but it really wasn't. It was Durasteel, and you know, just things like that. And then one of the people that was in the discussion, sent a message to Matt Martin. Matt Martin's like, well, you know, it's kind of up in the air. You kind of believe what you want to about this one because we don't have a definitive answer because it depends on what, you know, what you're using. We haven't said yes or no. But then, like, at the end of it, I forget exactly what he said. He's like, but just wait and see, or something like that. And then we all forgot about it until this whole new line came up about the Mandalorian and Boba Fett being in there. It's like, maybe we're going to have an answer then. Maybe that was his way of, you know, telling us, and he can't tell us, or, you know, maybe he's just saying, just wait and see. Maybe, like, as in someday you might find out. And we're taking the someday as in now, and they don't correlate with each other at all. So,
Right.
You got another question here. Do you know if those Clone Wars figures that just showed up on Walmart, is that going to be just a Clone Wars wave that comes out at the same time as Wave 27?
Let me look here. Just quick reference. Let's see. I don't believe that it's going to be only a Clone Wars wave, based on some of the other figures that I know are coming. Yeah, because I think it'll be a mix of Clone Wars and Mandalorian figures. Mandalorian show, not Mandalorian characters from Clone Wars. So it won't be just a wave of strictly Clone Wars figures.
Okay.
I did a quick. You made me very curious as far as the difference between or in scale of the blockade runner versus the Jabba's sail barge, and the the blockade runner would need to be 5 times longer than the barge.
So it'd be 16 feet or 20 feet.
Yeah, because the length of the sail barge is 30 meters, and the length of the blockade runner is 150.
Okay. So I was way off there with my 100 feet.
Right.
Maybe that was maybe a Star Destroyer. I don't know.
Right. The what's interesting though is it says that the sail barge could hold 500 passengers, and there's no way you could fit 500 action figures on the sail barge. So I think if you made the blockade runner twice as big as the sail barge, that would be fine.
But I mean, but you know, you also have to think about, like, I have a friend of mine that was trying to get rid of the sail barge recently, and I could have probably got it close to cost,
right,
plus shipping. So I mean, yeah, you were paying $500 plus the shipping was another $200 or $250 to get. So, you know, if you were getting it brand new, it was costing you $750. I probably could have got it for $1,000, which is pretty good. That's, you know, with the shipping. And I was told no because we don't have anywhere to put it. You know, once again, New York City apartment.
Yep.
I don't live in I live in Brooklyn. I'm not in one of the huge, you know, $10,000 a month apartments or anything like that.
Right.
You know, it's still more than most people I know pay for a mortgage payment anywhere else in the country, even with huge houses, but it's still, you know, New York City. So what are you going to do?
Yep.
I was told no about the sail barge. And then I was like, well, I can just store it in the box. She's like, well, how big's the box? She was like, nope. I'm like, well, she's like, will it fit underneath the bed? I said, no. She said, no.
Yeah.
Like, well, we can figure somewhere to put it. But yeah, I was shut down on that one.
Yep, I bought 2 of them at the time, and I sold one to a local collector friend of mine for cost, because he couldn't afford it at the time, or he missed out on the window, or whatever it was. I don't remember the reasoning, but yeah. So mine is still in the box. I've not opened it. It is sealed away. So.
Then we got another question for you in here. Do you think they're going to release a Ben Solo figure?
I don't think so. I do not. If so, it would be a vintage collection figure. I don't think we'd get one as a 6-inch figure. I think there are a few more figures from the Rise of Skywalker coming in the Black Series and vintage collection, but Ben Solo is not one of them at this time.
Are we going to get another Lando?
Don't know yet.
Because then we could have Lando from all 3 movies he was in.
Right.
That would be nice. And then, all right. And then, so is there anything else besides, like Star Wars? I know you said you collected a few other things, but anything else that's not action figure related that you collect?
Not action figure collector. Let's see. Not really. Yeah, it's, Star Wars is my main love. As collecting other things, I do collect various Marvel Legends figures and a few Transformers here and there. I've been picking up some of the new G.I. Joe 6-inch classified series figures that have recently been released. But yeah, there's nothing outside of action figures that I collect.
Yeah, I was gonna pick up the Snake Eyes, and I was like, you know what? If I pick up the Snake Eyes, I'm gonna have to get the Storm Shadow when it comes out because you have to have both of them. And depending on what comes out in between, I'm gonna have to pick that up. That was the same thing with the Thundercats that came out. I was like, well, I'm just gonna get these Thundercats that come out. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm just gonna have to stay with Star Wars. And if I ever do decide to, sell everything and go to vintage, or cherry pick what I'm going to keep out of it and go to vintage, then I can go and pick up some of those other ones, even though they're going to be a lot more expensive. I'm not going to get pulled into collecting all of them.
Yep.
And then maybe I can start being like, okay, I like I want the Lion-O and the Tigra, but I don't want this one and that one. And
right.
The same thing. Transformers, I love Transformers when I was younger when they came out, but Transformers don't really do it for me anymore, because if I throw Starscream against the wall, it's going to break in pieces, and I'm going to be upset that I just broke a $100 toy.
Right. The new line they just announced, the Transformers Red line, that they're 6-inch non-transforming Transformers that are designed after the cartoon. I absolutely love those. So I'll definitely be getting those, because again, I grew up in that time frame and I loved that cartoon and I loved the movie, and the original Transformers movie I'm talking. Yeah, I'll definitely get those non-transforming Transformers.
And then, all right, another question for you. Any chance 6-inch Black Series will put out prototype clone and Stormtroopers to customize yourself?
I don't know about prototype ones. I have a feeling, or a sneaking suspicion, that you will get similar to what they've done for their Marvel Legends line, the Hydra Trooper. I don't remember what the other one was, the AIM Trooper or something, maybe. Whichever they were. You might get some just standard clone troopers or stormtroopers. They have that $15 or $16 price point. Bare bones box release of those Marvel figures. I think we might get something similar for Star Wars, but nothing that is dedicated to customizers per se. But that would be your closest thing to, I guess, what Gilster's asking.
Yeah, or I mean, something similar to like a clear white figure like you have with the prototype Boba Fett. And but you can paint it yourself like a model, or I mean, I'm just adding on to that. I don't know if that was more of what his question was, or that's kind of what I'm thinking. Or you get the clone trooper and you can then paint it, whether it's the orange face with the Ahsoka on there, or if you want to do whoever they were following, whether they have gold faces or highlights or blue or red, or
right.
Something along those lines, which wouldn't be as in demand, because then people, I mean, you'd have to want to customize it yourself, rather than just going and picking up. And then the few people that do actually customize, because there are some people out there that do amazing custom jobs.
Absolutely.
that look even better than what we get from Hasbro or
right.
from Kenner with the 3 3/4.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pauline asked if you have any pictures of your collection.
Not really. Not that I could share, at least right now. My collection is, I would say, 1/8 represented in my house right now in the one room space that I have dedicated for it. Otherwise, the rest of it is either, in Rubbermaid totes or boxes and stored. So I don't have any current collection pictures. I'll say I have a lot of stuff, but it's not all displayed as I want it to be. So maybe our next house will have a larger dedicated space for it. But basically the stuff I have on display now, I kind of rotate through things that I like. Like I do have all my vintage stuff out in my original vintage collection, or Kenner stuff out in my room. But other action figures, I'll rotate in and out, throw some variety in. As I get new ones, I'll retire some of the ones that have been on display for a longer period of time, and I'll put the new stuff out just to keep things looking fresh and keep my interest in those.
Yeah, my Black Series and Funkos, all of them are still in the box. Someday when I have enough room to display them, they'll come out of the box. The ones that I want to, but they're in bookcases, so they're like the Funkos. I think are 6 or 8 across, and 4 deep. So you only have those 16 on a shelf that are showing, because I have them 2 on top of each other, but there's still another 40 of them behind there.
Right.
But I'm running out of room. I don't have room to put anymore. So I got some containers to put them in that they're going to fit perfectly underneath the bed, because the only thing I have underneath my bed right now are college textbooks.
Right.
And they're a couple years old. I had some issues with financial aid, so I took a year off, and it's ended up being about 1.5 years or 2 years. So most of those books are obsolete now, so they're just probably garbage. I might as well just go throw them out. Can't get any money for them, so I might as well fill that space up with some Funkos and Black Series.
Right.
And then I know you're going to have to take off soon. I want to thank you very much for giving us your time to come on here.
Absolutely. It was fun.
Tell everybody once again really quick where they can find you.
You can find me at YAKFACE.com. You can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, the same handle at YAKFACE.com. I'm always around. I'm always answering people's questions, whether publicly or privately. And I come on podcasts like this one, or live streams all the time and talk toys with various groups. There's just a lot of people that I talk to, and I'm happy to do it at any time. So I appreciate you asking me to come on, and it was fun.
Well, I'm very happy it worked out that you were able to, and hopefully sometime in the future, maybe after my collection of Black Series grow another 40 between now and Christmas, or after Christmas when they're all released, you can come back on and we can talk about what we're going to be getting from The Mandalorian, and then whatever book series we have coming out, because there's quite a few novels coming out too, even though the High Republic has been postponed.
Right.
There's still another 5 or 6 novels coming out. I think you have pretty much about one a month coming out. Not to mention all of the other ancillary material we have coming out. With the visual dictionaries, and there's a volume 1 and a volume 2 of the Mandalorian art book.
Yep.
Just so many other things, but yeah, those will all be on my shelf soon enough, hopefully.
Right.
They're all pre-ordered anyways. I have everything pre-ordered that I know of. So that's all that matters. So if something slips through the cracks, it'll hopefully be easy to pick up.
Right.
Really cool. But, all right, Jason.
All right.
Thank you very much, and I will talk to you in that Twitterverse.
Sounds good. And thanks everyone for the questions.
All right. Have a good day.
Have a good one.
Whatever it is. All right. Well, that was fun. It was very informative too, and lets us collectors, whether we're just picking up one or two things or kind of picking up everything right now that's coming out, and then we can decide what we want to keep and what we don't want to keep. So yeah, thank you very much. YAKFACE was in the house. And let's see if we can get somebody else in here. Jay, how you doing? Jay, can you hear me? Okay, Jay, I can see you, but I can't hear you. You have yourself muted. I got no volume for you there, Jay. Check your volume. You're not muted anymore, but check your volume. Oh, there you are. You're coming in.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. I put the link in there in case somebody else wants to try and come in. We got Andy just stopped in from.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Andy just stopped in from Holo Chronicles. Although you missed it, if you watched the replay, you may have heard your name or the podcast mentioned once or twice, talking about a few things. Okay.
Something's wrong with this thing.
You sound like me when I was trying to start it using my computer. I don't know if you were on here if you were on here for the beginning, but the first 5 minutes we were trying to get it going didn't work, so I had to switch over to my phone. So I'm making phone videos in my car, everybody, because I'm an angry man. Yeah, so I just talked to Best Buy today, and they need to. So I dropped it off on Friday. They did what they could at the regular Geek Squad and at the store, and they have to send it away. So they said it'll probably be about 2 weeks before I get it back. But don't be surprised with the holiday and COVID if it takes 3. So I'm hoping just to have it back by August. That gives me 4 weeks. So anything before that is going to be very, very nice. So I know I had some messages coming in earlier, but it's really hard for me with this to see. Maybe I can use the phone. That might be a little better than, this is much better than the computer, trying to use that. But I can only get 2 messages at a time. The Imperial Communique. Did you just have your, I think we just hooked up on YouTube and on Twitter. Did you just have the your collection shown on Holo Chronicles? Were you that featured one, or am I thinking of somebody else? Yeah, so I think I'm going to have to re-download all of my stuff onto this computer to edit, and I don't have anything, so it's like, I was talking to somebody yesterday, could have been Rural Farm Boy, I'm not sure, but like I'm going to need to download a video, an old video, to edit it so I can get the intro and the outro, so I can make a new video, and then the same thing with the podcast and do that. So we'll just, I still don't have the podcast out from last week. I didn't do that yet because I didn't want to. I'll say be lazy, but I didn't want to sit there and spend all that time on doing it because, you know, with using a notebook, it's going to take 5 times as long. But okay, Imperial Communique. All right, so we did indeed just get hooked up on Twitter and YouTube. Okay. I thought that you may have been the person. I got the names confused or the names crossed. So, yeah, anyways, forget about that. But everybody go follow the Imperial Communique on YouTube and on Twitter. It's my new friend. I made another friend on the tubes, the Twitter tubes. All right, and I don't think there's a lot to talk about this week, news-wise. I have a couple of videos that I'm going to be making. I went to go put my so I can hang on. Excuse me. I went to go cough, but I went to go put my my microphone up, so you didn't catch that. But I don't have a microphone on right now because I'm using something else. Mr. Rez, it's Mr. Rez's birthday, everybody. So make sure you wish Mr. Rez a happy birthday. Go find him on Twitter and fill his Twitter line with happy birthday messages. And if you already did wish him a happy birthday, go do it again and find a funny meme to put up there. Because he has no sense of humor whatsoever, and it really makes him upset if you put naked pictures of him on there. If you don't know who Mr. Rez is on Twitter, you wouldn't understand what that joke meant because I put his naked butt on Twitter today. How I have pictures of his naked butt? He asked me that question. And what did I tell him? Award-winning podcast, baby. Podcaster one with many friends. But I guess we can get to some opening stuff. Let me go grab an opening implement to get this going on. I will be back. I'm not going to put the little 3 on there. I'm just going to go grab something. Don't you worry. All right. So, see, I'm talking to you guys again like I got my fucking headphones on. You probably can't hear me anymore because I walked away. But all right, we're going to start off with, I'm assuming you guys can hear me. We're going to start off with something nice and easy. If you guys have been around the last couple of days, you know that I have been talking about how Sticker Mule. Hi, everybody. I just wanted to say hi and subscribe and hit like and share right now on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube. And go to Patreon. Yay! Love my dad. Thank you, Boo Boo. She's the best puppy in the world. These guys right here, Sticker Mule had a special. So usually once a week they do a special, whether it's you know, stickers, or you can get these big pads or whatever they are, or bubble envelopes. Yeah, so you go to Sticker Mule and you order some stickers. They give you a cute little mule sticker. I don't know anybody want. I should probably start saving these, hand them out to people in case they want them. I don't know anybody that likes a donkey. They give you a coaster when you order some stuff. A couple other stickers in there. This one I can't show you yet. That sticker. That's a Patreon only looking sticker. So only Patreons can see that sticker because that's the new. Unless I showed you guys, I didn't mean to. I don't know if I showed you that or not, but that's gonna be the new T-shirt coming out when I get the a couple more designs and or figure out what to do. But we got another. Where's the camera on here? TooMedToo's Bacta tank sticker done up. So we got a few stickers. I can put out a couple of stickers now, and then one of my Patreon tiers is going to be a sticker pack. That's going to be one of the tiers. So I was going to do every week, and I don't know what you guys think about this. Even if you're not a Patreon, let me know what you, or a patron, let me know what you think about it. Instead of me sending you a sticker every week, or I'm sorry, every month, doing a sticker of the month, do stickers, like a sticker pack every 6 months. And I'm also going to do another tier that's a t-shirt every 6 months. And it's going to be like a Patreon exclusive. You're going to get the t-shirt first. You're going to get it for free because you're in the Patreon t-shirt tier. And then after you have it and it's all good, then it's going to go on to TeePublic, or you're just going to get it for free. I haven't decided yet how I'm going to do it. It's still up in the air. That's why I haven't posted anything yet for it. But yeah, let me know what you think about the sticker thing, because it's just going to be, yeah, I don't know. I think it's just going to be easier just to for me and for you to do it like a sticker pack and send it out that way. That way you can actually, instead of having to worry about getting a sticker done, and, you know, would you rather get 6 crappy stickers every 6 months, or would you rather get 2 crappy stickers and 2 nice stickers because I had time to have someone design them? I mean, I don't know. I think the other way. But all right. Do you want to do a box or a bag? A box or a bag? Let me know what you think. What are you thinking? Both. Okay, we are going to do both. Mr. Rez, do you want a box or a bag first? Mr. Rez, you get to pick. Everybody else, you lose because it's not your birthday. Mr. Rez gets to pick because it's his birthday. What are we doing first? A box or what are we going to do first? A box or a bag? I only know what's in the bag. Okay. What's in the bag? So, yeah, it's really weird that I couldn't. I don't know who was on here to start it off with Jay. Like I did it. I did a stream, 2 streams. I did a stream Saturday night. I had people on and it was fine. I did a stream yesterday. And Dale said it was a little choppy, but when he went back to watch it, it was fine. But this was just so bad that it wouldn't have been fine. Like, it was just freezing up and everything. So, all right, here we go. If you saw last week, I don't know, because they made me open up some stuff on one of the septic tanks. But can you guys see what this is? I'm trying to look at a phone screen on here and then trying to look at my computer screen. It is, how the hell do I do this over here? I can't see now. It is a New Hope. It's the script from A New Hope. So, you know, I can watch the movies and read along with it. And there are a few pictures in here, you know, to go along with it. So yeah, in my Star Wars room, I have quite a few books sitting back there that haven't been opened up yet because I just want to make sure that, depending on how the weeks fall, you know, it's like I'm supposed to get those Black series, and they were supposed to be here today, and now they're telling me that they should be delivered by the 6th, which is next Monday. But if they're not here, I don't have anything to open, and I want to make sure that doesn't happen. I should honestly be good. Going through from now until shit, there's stuff coming out. Next, between books and everything, I should be good at having new stuff every week, but I still have those couple books backed up. All right, Box or a bag, Mr. Rez? Box or a bag? Box or a bag? So yeah, I forget which one I got the other day. I think I got Return of the Jedi. It's hard for me to remember now because I'm not really rotating things properly. So I could have gotten something a week or two ago, a book, and it's now at the bottom of the pile, and I'm just kind of grabbing from the top. A box. Okay. We're going to do this box. This is not going to go the way that you think. I'm just going to let you know that right now. What do we have in here? We got some Black Series. We got some Funkos. What's it going to be? What's it going to be? What's it going to be? Anybody want to guess what it's going to be? Let's see. Oh, somebody, what's going on here? Jay's trying to come back in. We're going to try to see if we can bring Jay back in. Jay, are you there, buddy? Jay, are you there? Jay, can you hear me? Jay? We got you on screen, but we can't hear you or see you. I'm going to pop out over here by myself. I'm still leaving you on in case you start coming through. Well, at least to be able to hear you. So here we go. We have Star Wars Book of Lists. I'm actually going to be going through this book really quickly and talking about it really quick.
Yeah,
video.
can you hear me?
I can hear you, Jay. I can hear you now.
Yeah, I'm here. Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Can you see me? Hello.
I can't tell if I can
Yeah,
see
I
you.
can hear you. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you, Jay.
Hello.
You're good. All right, so we have this.
Finally.
We have the Book of Lists. So like number 1, I am a Jedi like my father before me. It's really hard to show right here now. I'm trying to figure out how to use my phone and do this. Get it like that for you, to at least get an idea. And then it has everything listed like, okay. Where is it? This one. This isn't really that good for you, but all right. So it says whatever it says here, Image A, and then Image A is down here. But Image A is Death Star Escape: A New Hope. During the rescue of Princess Leia on the planet Death-destroying Death Star battle station, Luke and the princess face a perilous challenge. With stormtroopers not far behind, okay, Luke carries Leia, whatever. So it's, the most heroic moments. It's not actually, father. And then, we go on, judge me by my size, do you? Yoda's words of wisdom and a warning. So, yeah, some really good, looks like some really good lists, some really good stuff to talk about. Not sure if I'm going to go through this. That's up to the Patreons. Like I talked to the Patreons the other day. And Patreons, my patrons, let me know what book you want to do next, because I just finished the art of Tross, and then I'm going to go back and finish up the visual dictionary, and then I need a book to do after that. So, I mean, I can do this book of lists, or now that we have it, let me know what you want. This looks like it would be a really fun list to do and talk about. So, you know, this might be my new list or something on there. But, dude, I got over 100 books, well over that. So we'll figure out what to do. Gilster. Oh, McShabby Geek. Is that the? I think that's who. I'm getting people confused with new people on Twitter and new people on Facebook or yeah, Facebook. Although I haven't been on Facebook that much because the TooMedToo's channel is still suspended because they're trying to make me prove I'm not a robot. They've been doing that every month or two since I changed from, I think it was Delilah's picture I had on there, I'm not sure, to, oh, Mr. Oz, box or a book now. Ever since I changed to a robot, they think I'm a robot. Like, who puts a bot as a bot for their bot account? And then usually within a day it changes. And this one's been going on 2, maybe 3 weeks. So yeah, Imperial Communicate. I'm sorry, I apologize. It's not. I'm not trying to, you know, offend you or whatever. But yeah, Shabby Geek, M Shabby Geeks. I think I just followed them on YouTube. That's who I confused you with. I think they just did. That might have been who was on Holo Chronicles, and I don't know, dude. There's just, you know, I'm horrible with names. I mean, that's my excuse. There's no excuse, but it is. All right, Mr. Rez, box or bag? I'm going to decide for you if you don't hurry up. Well, this one's neither. This one's neither a box or a bag. Actually, it's an Aldi's bag. So here we go. Here's a book for you in an Aldi's bag. Oh, box? Okay. Well, then, I got a little story about this one for you. If you're watching I'm pretty sure I know what this is. If you're watching my last, the last or the second last of the Holocron House Art of Tross, and it talked about, I think it was the second to last one, how they were building the Death Stars, and in the center of it there's a ring, a huge ring. I didn't realize how big it was, that they were actually Death Stars coming out like little teeth inside the ring. I call it something else, but that was on the septic tank. I don't want to do it on this one because, you know, I'm trying to keep it as not profane as possible. And we were then talking about it, like we talked about it for a couple times. And I called it something, but I'm not going to call it here on here. So Patrick said, because then we were talking about how the first order symbol, if you look at the first order symbol, it's the round symbol with a bunch of teeth coming out of it. Those are Death Stars. And this is what they had it. So did they have how they were building the Death Stars to make the symbol from it? Did they have that idea? Or did they have, you know, the symbol and say, hey, you know what that looks like? And that's how they're going to do it. But I was talking with Patrick, and he's like, yeah, grab this book. Check it out on this page. And I said, you know what? That book's on my list, but I don't have it yet. And I was like, you know what? I need it. It's on my list. I might as well go ahead and get it. So I went and ordered it right there. It's this book right here. Speaking of Star Destroyers. It is the Art of Rogue One. I was going to say Rogue One, a podcast for winners, but it is now the Pop Culture Happy Hour or something like that. Yeah, Pauline, I don't know if you were here for that. It's I don't have the book with me. It's on my bookcase put away. But I said I was gonna take a picture of it and post it on Twitter. You're not on Twitter. Yeah, I'll someone remind me for next time. I'll have it for next time. If not, I'll go grab it next time. But all right, let's see. Let's do this book right here. All right. This is a bag. It's a bag for Rez. Would you look at that? Looky here. Huh. Did not know that this is what it was. For reals, did not know. This is in pretty good condition for signs of wear and constant use. We got The Empire Strikes Back. This one. So we got the matching set, and the triplet is back there. And then Han Solo searches for Luke Skywalker, who is ambushed on the icy Hoth snow plains and narrowly escaped becoming meal for a Wampa. Bah! All right. I need a sippy sip of my beverage. Excuse me again. Okay. We got a book here. In an Aldi's bag. We're wrapping. Oh, and I just picked up another book. I got an okay deal on it. I mean, it's one of those really expensive books, and I got it for about 35% less than they were asking for it. Didn't get any of that good deals like that $500 book I got for $100 anymore. That's why that book was, once in a lifetime deal. That's why I hopped on it. But that should be here in about 2 weeks, I think it said. But get out this one. A lot of these books I get, I've talked about before, on Amazon from the Goodwill, or this one actually, this is from someone, an actual person coming from their house. But a lot of them I get off of Amazon, and it's the Goodwill books or whatever used book site they're coming from. Oh, and if you're opening shit, don't open it like this because it's very dangerous and you'll kill yourself. But I got a million layers to get through here. Yeah, it's like those scripts. I think are like, I could be wrong, but I think they're like 30 or 40 bucks, and I got them used for like 5 or 6. And like the one was Amazon's good condition, and it says shows sign of use and shelf wear or whatever it is. That's fine. I mean, it looks like I had it, and I put it in and out of my shelf a couple times and used it. So, you know, would I give it to somebody as a gift? Probably not, because you know it does have a couple marks on it or whatever. Probably give it to Rez as a gift, but you know, not anybody else that really matters. Oh, I can't be mean to Rez. I got to be nice to him today because it's his birthday. If it was his normal birthday, I wouldn't be nice to him. But it's a leap year birthday, so I still have 365 days to be a jerk to him. So I'm good. Oh, okay. If you guys remember, last week I opened up a book, and I wasn't sure about the book, whether or not I tried to find it, and I was like, well, I can't tell if this is the same book or not, and it just has a different cover because the book is, it says it was made in the UK, but this one says it was made in the US, so maybe just the difference in labels or whatever. Looking at it really quick, it looks pretty good. This is going to be, I think, a fun book to go through with my peoples and show. Yeah. Yeah, this will be fun. That leap year math does not add up. Well, this is a leap year. So there's 366 days. So that means 365 days, I can still be a jerk to you. And I'm nice to you one day, and it doesn't count because it's a leap year. So it's an extra day. So I still get to be a jerk to you 365 days. Right, here we go. It's this book right here. It is From Star Wars to Indiana Jones, the best of Lucasfilm archives. It did belong to Brian somebody. I don't know if that's the person who mailed it to me or not. Their name's in the book, but whatever. You know, it doesn't really matter. It starts off a little bit history, you know, talking about American graffiti. THX 1138. And we get right into Star Wars. You see some Ralph McQuarrie art right there in the corner. You see the blockade runner that we just had the conversation about. If they were going to make it the same scale as the sail barge for whatever the hell it is, HasLab, you know, they'd have to make it 20 feet almost, which I can't see them making this ship, even if they make it 15 feet long, or, you know, exactly just to be the same size as the sail barge. But, you know, you could do a little cockpit thing up here, and then, you know, back here have it where Vader is, you know, where he, I don't know, whatever, dude. Just, and then, you know, we get into a concept, some concept stuff. And there were some other just regular pictures, just more pictures. I mean, it's basically a book of pictures. But you got there's Slave 1 for you and the cloud card. So we're getting a little bit further on. Get a little bit more McQuarrie art in there. Them making some of the aliens. See that? That's gonna be fun to look at. So, you know, if you like this, go to patreon.com/TooMedToo and throw a couple dollars in the jar. And then you get to tell me what book to do. Well, then we switch from, where do we switch? That was Star Wars. And actually, I think this is almost the same picture of something they had in the art book from yesterday. One of the last pages that they had. But they did it with Kylo Ren's mask instead of Vader's. Or, I don't know, maybe it was something else. But here we go. Here is part 2 of the book. Now, we told you it was going to be Star Wars and Indiana Jones. Oh, Dr. Jones. Raiders of the Lost Ark. I do like Indiana Jones, but you know, I mean, what are you gonna do? Collect posters? I mean, I guess you could, or collect the fertility idol. I guess you could collect that if you wanted to. What do? I collect fertility idols. Some people do, if that's what they're into. You know, go into swords and other things. Sketches of whatever they have. I know I'm taking a little bit longer on this book than I do with some of the other ones, just because this book's really fun. This is another art book, and it's just a little bit different. So yeah, you know, this is another good find for me. Unfortunately, when I was looking for other books afterwards, like in the last couple of days, I did find it for a little bit cheaper. But what are you gonna do, man? You know, this is good quality. So I don't know what the other one would have been in. And here we go. You have I don't know if you can see it on there. That is when they're going through after Indy almost got his heart pulled out. Oh, they're the Stones. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Check out that. Rope bridge. See, I want to see it behind the scenes. Do they have somebody answer this for me? And if you don't know the answer, someone go find out for me. Oh, yes, it is. It's getting hot in New York City. I think it was 92 today or something like that. But it's starting to get bad for me too because it's getting humid. And with whatever illness I had, whatever respiratory infection or COVID or whatever, because, you know, I went to the cardiologist and she told me basically she thinks for my symptoms and what the other doctor had written down in my chart that I had COVID, and the problems I'm having with my lungs right now are a direct result from having COVID. But my other doctor, my primary doctor, said, oh, your antibody test was negative. You didn't have it. And she's like, you don't know how many people I've seen that tested positive for it. We knew they had it. You know, they tested positive for it. And then afterward, they take the antibody test and it's negative. So either the antibody tests are garbage, or for some reason they're not building antibodies, or they built the antibodies and they're gone because they don't know yet why some people are building them, some people aren't, why they're staying with some people, why some people it takes a month for them to show up. Like they test positive for COVID and then they take the antibody test and they don't show up. They take a couple more tests and they don't show up, and then a month later it shows up in there. So either something's funky with their body and it's not making them at levels that it properly should, or the tests are garbage. So basically the only thing that the COVID antibody test is good for is if you test positive, you know you have the antibodies and had COVID. If you test negative, it doesn't mean shit except for the fact that you don't have the antibodies. But still, get your test as much as you can, especially if you're getting them for free, paid for. Then we go into The Last Crusade. You know, it's weird because, hot take, The Last Crusade might be my favorite movie of the Indiana Jones trilogy. Maybe because I was raised Roman Catholic and had that shit beat into me by the nuns and whatever. You know, I don't know, but yeah. So it's like I'm fine. Normally, I'd say up until last week, I'm fine just sitting around doing whatever. I can breathe. That's fine. But just like walking the dog or going to pick up the laundry and carrying the laundry bag back, like I'm out of breath just after walking, you know, very short distances with the extra walking up the stairs or just, you know, normally or whatever it is. But it's been a little bit like where it's hot out or it's warm out, and you know, your New York City apartment, I don't have central air, so you know they're wall units, and right now I have one in my kitchen going, which is kind of keeping this my living room a little bit cool, but I don't have one in my living room because you can't hear if you're watching TV with it in here, so it's kind of, you know, whatever. But yeah, it's starting to get a little bit with the heat and the humidity. It's getting a little bit harder. But I go on Wednesday for an ultrasound of my heart, because that's the whole thing. It's like they think I have a lung problem, but they have to, before they start dealing with lung problems, they deal with your heart first. Even though they know it's a lung issue, they have to deal with the heart. I mean, it could be the heart. Who knows? I've had issues with both in the past. A couple years ago, I had a bilateral pulmonary emboli. So for you lay people that don't know any medical jargon, I had a blood clot in both of my lungs, and I pretty much died from it. And then everything was good. They gave me like a 10% chance to live. They had me in the ICU for a week. Shit, dude, ain't none of that shit gonna stop me, bro. Mr. Rez, we have one more, Mr. Rez. One more box to open. Oh, we have the Great Council here. Thanks for stopping by. Everybody, if you are not, go follow the Great Council on YouTube and on Twitch. Or if you are on Twitter, go follow Darth Daddy Lunga. He does even more content than I do, or maybe we're even. I don't know. I do about 20 streams. He probably does more. I do about 20 streams a month, I think is what I'm averaging. But now there's going to be no video games, so for a couple weeks till everything's back. But yeah, so go follow him. The Great Council, YouTube, Twitter, Darth Daddy Lunga on, or Twitch, I mean, and then Darth Daddy Lunga on Twitter. Oh yeah, and he's doing a contest right now. You can win the Squadrons game, a copy of the Squadrons game. And if you go to follow him, just go follow him, and you can read and how to do it. But you get points if you follow him on Twitter. You get points if you follow him on Twitch. You get points if you sign up for his newsletter. He is also an author. He had a book that came out a short time ago. I'm having issues with the computer, so right now I'm streaming off my phone because the computer was going too slow. But I'll put the links. DM me the links, and I'll put them on Twitter. Yeah, that's gonna be the easiest way to do it, and I'll put them on there for you to get it going. But yeah, he does daily content too. So usually I think it's Monday through Friday at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock. Well, it depends what time zone you're in. It's 2 o'clock for him because he's in Central. I'm on the East Coast, so it's 3 o'clock for me. And he talks about whatever nerd or geek news came out for since the last time he talked to you. Yeah, some interesting people on to talk about. But all right, we got one more box to do. One more box to do, and it's kind of big. And it came the other day. I think it actually came Tuesday. And I've just been waiting for it to open it. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, whatever, dude. I'd do it right now, but I can't because I can't do the links because I don't have my computer to do it with. I'm doing it with my phone, so All right. Nobody guessed what was in this big box, though. No guesses what's in this box that I'm about to show y'alls? All y'alls? No? Nobody? All right. Bam! It's a big one. It's a big mother trucker. We got the 10-inch Baby Yoda. And unlike the other ones, I don't think it's 10 inches tall. I think it's 10 inches wide. So, yeah, dude. The child, or Yoju, if you will. Lunga, I was telling the story earlier. So, I've watched in 8 years I've been with my girlfriend. I've watched one Star Wars movie with her, and it was last month. It was Solo, because I figured, what's the easiest movie to start somebody with? Who she watched the OT growing up, but that was it. She hasn't seen anything since. And I was like, okay, we'll do Solo because it's easy, and I won't have to answer questions and do too much. And you know, that was a chore. I mean, 8 years to get her to watch something. So, and then we just started watching The Mandalorian the other day, yesterday. And the first episode, she was just watching it. She didn't give a shit about it. And I was telling her stuff about it because she didn't give a shit. And I knew that she would later on, if she liked it, she'd want to know the answers to or she'd ask these questions. So I was telling her about it. And then by the second episode, she was like being vocal about it, like, ooh, oh, and like whatever. So she's kind of hooked right now. And she likes Baby Yoda, but I had to explain to her that it's not Yoda. She's like, no, but they call it Baby Yoda. I'm like, I know, but it's just because he's Yoda. He's Yoda species. And then she's like, well, he's Baby Yoda. I'm going to call him Baby Yoda. I was like, well, his name's a child. We don't know his actual name. He's just a child. She's like, I'm going to call him Baby Yoda because he's Baby Yoda to me. I was like, okay, but, you know, Yoda's dead. She's like, no, Yoda lives in... Then she turned to me and she said some corny shit. She's like, no, Yoda lives in all of us, Michael. And I was like, oh, God. And that's why I put a post on there. I was like, if I had some hot takes from what she was saying, watching this, and through episode, like when episode 2 started, she's like, oh, I thought the Mandalorian was a ship. I didn't know it was a person. And I was like, well, actually, the Mandalorian, Mandalorian, I gave her a quick little, like the quick little lesson I gave her about everything. She didn't give two shits about that. She doesn't care. You know, the Mandalorian to her is Din Djarin. So, you know, baby steps. We'll get it going. But I posted a conversation we had on Twitter today because I was like, oh, it's pouring here so bad. And she's like, oh, I was like, oh, it's like we're on Kajimi. Or not Kajimi, we're on Kasana. Camino. I was like, oh, it's like we're on Camino. And she said, oh, is that the Mandalorian planet? And I was like, no, that's whatever. And whatever. I don't know, just going, yeah, whatever. Yeah, so we got this. We got Baby Yoda. So now we get to go show her. And she's probably going to be like, what the fuck are you going to do with that huge thing? But she's probably in there because she's in the room. She can probably half hear. I don't know. I think I talk a lot louder when I have my headphones on, which I'm not using right now, because I can't use my headphones with my phone, so I just got it rolling with whatever. But do I think Baby Yoda could be reincarnated? No, because we see Yoda afterwards. And the child is 50 years old. So that means that the ghost of Yoda would have to have possessed a baby Yoda species to be reincarnated into someone else's body. So I really don't think he's reincarnated, baby Yoda. I just happen to think that, so here's my theory. The Yoda species are all the same. They're all force sensitive. They all are really strong in the force on their planet out in the unknown region somewhere. But it's kind of like Superman on Krypton. You know, everybody's the same. It's not until they come here with the yellow sun that they have the superpowers. You know, or their superpowers are all the same, and you know, so nobody has. If everybody's got the same superpower, nobody has a superpower. They're just them. So I think on Yoda's planet, they're all force sensitive. They're all really strong in the force. They can all do whatever, and it's just so far out there that we never see a species. So that the couple of them that we have seen, when they're here, that's why we think that they have the powers. I don't think the Yoda species is almost extinct. I think they flourish on their planet way, way out there where no one ever travels to. So when they do bring back a Yoda species, you know, that's why we get them. Or, you know, it's kind of like they live to be 900 years old. So, you know, I mean, we don't know a lot about them. We're finding out everything we know from The Mandalorian. So, you know, we don't know their growth cycle. They could be, you know, it takes them 50 years to get this big, but over the next 10 years, you know, he triples in size or quadruples in size to be how tall we know like Yoda and Yaddle to be. And, you know, that's how his brain completely functions now as a Yoda or whatever. I mean, we really don't know. I mean, look at the human species. The Great Council just said that it's a rumor that Yoda's species planet is not in the galaxy, that it's past the unknown regions. And, you know, that's what I was saying. I've said it before. So you have like the unknown regions. All right. And then you have like Thrawn's people that the Chiss that live in the unknown regions. Well, what's in the unknown? The people that live in the unknown regions. What's their unknown regions? That's where the baby Yoda is, or that's where the Yoda species is. So it's like, you know, the outer rim, the unknown. You know, past the, you know, it's the unknown regions, unknown regions. So that's that's what I really think it is. So it's like out there. I mean, who knows? I mean, you go to you know, you have planets in the galaxy that are more forceful, or are more full of the force, or more, you know, have you more attuned to the force than other planets. And you know, we know on Dagobah, Dagobah is a very strong planet for the force. We also know that there's like a time difference on Dagobah, and that, well, that's a whole other thing about Empire Strikes Back, how it's not, Empire Strikes Back is not linear. The way that the movie is shot is not linear at all. You have things happening, and then you go back in time, you know, not a lot of time, but you go back then to, yeah, just that's a whole other day to talk about, or maybe later on tonight, who knows. But yeah, so yeah, baby Yoda, get to go pass it on and be like, here we go. Yeah, Pauline, hope you find a job. I don't know, you know, what's going on with your situation, but hopefully everything works out for you. What we could do is we need to find somebody. I think you can stream on a Discord. We need to get a Discord and do like a Discord stream of it, and then you can watch it. Highly illegal, but you know, um, yeah. Speaking of that, Pauline, we'll figure something out for you. We know people. But yeah, I think that might do it for today. Oh shit! Was there even a Rebel Scum today? I didn't even watch or look or see. I just thought about that now. That's what I usually do. I usually watch Rebel Scum. So what it used to be is Rebel Scum was on from 7 to 8, and then I'd have a half hour to do whatever. Then I'd do my show, and then Gilster, thank you very much. I can't put that up there because let's see if I can do it. Oh, we got it. We got a super chat from Gilster, and I took it off already. Super chat from Gilster, 37. Thank you very much. I appreciate that very much so. So he's saying that on the Yoda planet, I'm speculating here. I'm reading into what you're saying. That the Thrawn, Thrawn and Ezra Bridger are on the planet that the Yodas are on. You know, so that's why Thrawn doesn't know who the Yoda species or Yoda planet is, because he's from the unknown regions. It's the unknown regions, the unknown regions squared, if you will, where all the Yojus are. So, yeah, dude, thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Well, yeah, so I usually watch them. I can't even talk now. I'm so happy that Gilster sent that to me. That's awesome, dude. Thank you. I really, really appreciate that. I wish it was on. I wish I had my regular computer. That way I could see it and it could be highlighted, and then I'd have it in Streamlabs, and that would go towards my goal because I have a goal set and everything for my GoPro. But I think I'm going to wait, and I was just going to go ahead and buy the GoPro the other day, and I was like, I'm going to wait till Amazon does their Prime Day sale. So on 7-Eleven, on Prime Days, so on 3/11, 7-Eleven, I think they do one in November for 11. I don't know if they do 11/11 or whatever they do, or maybe it's 7/7 that they do it. They have huge sales, like let's clear out the warehouse sales. All right. Imperial Communique, thank you very much for stopping by. Once again, I'm sorry I confused you with the other people. Not that at least I confused you with somebody nice, somebody that we like, I think. But it was just, yeah. So I'm gonna wait and see. Maybe I can get a good deal on it, But that's where the Patreon money comes in, and people, giving some money for super chats and things like that. Because I'll be honest with you, unless you're getting thousands of views for videos, you don't make any money. Right now I think I made. It's not hard to figure out if you know what it is. I make. The other day I made 0.003 cents, which means a couple of people watched the video. Everybody else has ad blockers on or whatever it is, or skip the videos. The other day I made $1.60 something. That's the most I've ever made. Just happened to be streamed a couple of times. I had a bunch of people hanging out and watching or whatever. So, it's like, yeah. If I average a quarter a day on YouTube, that's pretty good. Because I'm not one of these super channels. I don't do clickbait. I might do 20 streams and a month, but they're all hanging out talking. I don't like doing, I'd rather sit here and talk to you about an idea that I have than make a video about here, this is how things are. Or, you know, this is what's canon, just because, you know, it's not my style. I don't like doing that, because then we get to converse about it. But, you know, that's how you get your views is, hey, here's a 4-minute video or a 5-minute video. You know, I would make more money off of a 5-minute video, and getting a couple hundred people to watch it than I do doing these for the long ones, because it's not how long you do, it's the number of views that you get. But yeah, it's, you know, trust me, I wish I had thousands. I mean, I have over 1,000. So, you know, I make a couple cents, but it's, you know, and trust me, I appreciate every penny, you know, whether I made 12 cents today or 25 or $1 or whatever it is, you know, that at the end of the month adds up to, you know, $6, which pays for, or $10, which pays for something, or, you know, it might take a couple months to pay for something or to get something, but, you know, a couple dollars here and there adds up. And if you have Amazon, this is the other thing too. If you have Amazon Prime, if you go to your Amazon Prime account, you'll see a spot on there that says Twitch, and you go link up your Twitch with Amazon Prime, because Amazon owns Twitch. You can subscribe to my Twitch channel for free, and it gives me a couple dollars. It just takes half of it, but it doesn't cost you anything. All you gotta do is click a button, and you know that it's all these little places that I have that I can make $5, $10 off of, that help pay for, you know, getting my computer fixed and getting computer equipment and websites and, you know, this and that and everything else. That, you know, I do this because I love to, and if I wasn't making any money, I would still do it. I mean, I'm not making money, but, you know, if I didn't have a couple dollars here and there coming in off of, you know, Patreon and YouTube and Twitch and, you know, whatever it is, you know, it just helps with the cost, because, you know, websites, you know, yeah, everything costs money, whatever. I'm going to shut up about this now, because, but yeah, so I don't know. Was I talking about something before I start rambling on about whatever? I don't know. We're going on almost 3 hours. Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of people that have YouTube channels that, you know, in order to comment, you have to have a YouTube channel. Like, you can't just go come on someone's YouTube and comment without a channel, because that's how they at least have a little bit of, you know, background or say on whatever happens. So yeah. And it's like this one, I'm probably going to have to, there was like 10 minutes of, or however long it was, I'm going to have to cut out that while we're trying to figure out the problem, go and cut that out and then repost it up. But, you know, that's going to, with the setup right now I'm running, it's going to take me a little bit of time. But you know what? Hey, that's all I got time. Oh no, what I was saying earlier, that's right. Oh shit, where was that going from? So I just started watching The Man in the High House, something like that. What the hell is that called? I think The Man in the High House, the Amazon Prime show. It's on like season 4 now. I just started watching it today, and I binge watched like 8 episodes. It's really fucking good. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's about not at all what I thought it was. I don't even know. High Castle, Man in the High Castle. It is really fucking good. Like, I didn't know what it was about. I think that's why I didn't really watch it. And, you know, it's like, what if the roles would have been reversed in World War II? with the winners, and yeah, it's really good. So Danielle's working at work this week because New York City, who knows what's going on? Are they opening restaurants this week? Or are they not? Who knows? So they're there. She's there getting her restaurant ready to go. Waiting to see if they're allowed to open, because that was the plan, and now we're gonna find out on Wednesday whether or not they're allowed to open or not. And yeah, so she's not here, so that gives me more time to watch whatever I want to without having to compete with her. I mean, we have 3 other TVs in the house, 2 other TVs in the house, plus computers. I got a TV in here. I got a TV in the back room. I got my phone. I got I don't have my other computer, but her computer, her tablet. So I mean, there's plenty. So it's just an excuse because it's not as convenient. But whatever, dude. But yeah, I'm gonna crush that series. And really quick, I think I made it 8 episodes today. I mean, I'll have it done this week. And the other great thing, I don't know if you guys, I've been complaining about, I haven't been able to open up my Google Podcasts, and I've tried everything, and I tried it every day, multiple times. I sent messages. I talked with Google support, for over an hour, where the guy just got so pissed at me that because I just kept being like, it's not working, it's not working, it's not working. Everything he told me to do, nothing was working. Where he was just finally like, there must be a problem with the app. You're going to need to just try it again. There's nothing else I can help you with, But somebody's podcast came up on Twitter today through Google Podcast. And I clicked on it, and it went to Google Podcast, and that opened up my app. Whether or not the app has been opening up or able to open up the last couple weeks or so, I'm not sure, because I haven't tried it in a week or two. But now it works, and I was like, oh my God, look at all these, and now I have a couple hundred on there. But it maybe they changed the interface on it too, so it doesn't come up the same way. So that might have been a problem, that I didn't have mine updated, but it wouldn't update. I don't know what it was, but now it's working. So now I got my 2 podcatchers going. So, but I'm still way behind. I usually finish books in 1 week, or I'm sorry, within 1 day. If a book comes out they usually come out on Tuesday. I'm usually done with that book on Tuesday. Even if it's like this one, Fallen Shadow, the second one in the Alphabet Squadron, Fallen Shadow. I can't think of the name of it right now. Even though it's a 14 or 15 hour audiobook, I'll usually have it done. And that's like all I'll do for the day is just do that. But I've been just busy doing a bunch of other shit that I still don't have it done. It's been almost a week. So, well, I was doing some other, yeah, I don't know. I'm supposed to be doing, one of my buddies is doing a novelization and movie, comparing the movie and novelization. So I was rereading the books to catch up to him. He was already 2 ahead of me, so I had to reread episode 1, episode 2, and episode 3, so that I would be ready to record with him last Wednesday for episode 3. But he told me, hey, can we push it back? I said, yeah, no problem. I'm going to be recording that with him in a couple of days. So I didn't even start the book until Thursday. I started a little bit late just because I had, I made another commitment and had to kind of keep that. But yeah, I'm just rambling on now about crazy nonsense. But yeah, Pauline, New York's scary, but like if you look at it per capita, it's not that bad. What was bad was when I was sick and they thought I had COVID, they couldn't give me a test because I wasn't in the hospital, or like in the hospital. Even if you're in the hospital, they don't give you one. You have to be in the hospital, like extremely ill, like grave or like dying or whatever. And they wouldn't, that was the only way they'd give you one. Like my doctor, my PC thinks he had COVID. But couldn't get the test because he wasn't in the hospital, wasn't sick enough, even though he's a doctor. They wouldn't, you know, authorize it for him to have it. And it was before they had I haven't seen him since the antibody test. So I was the first one through my hospital group, Lutheran hospital group, to have the antibody test done. That was when they first started doing it. I was the first one to have it done. So it's bullshit, but whatever. I already ranted about that. You know, I mean, get whatever test done you can, because you can't find anything out without having tests done. Just half the tests are bullshit and are wrong anyways. If they come up negative, it's like they're so strong to be positive that a lot of them are giving you false negatives. But dude, get whatever done you can, because that's the only way we're gonna stay safe and beat this thing. Is everybody just keeps getting tested and getting shit done. But yeah, it's like, you know, I already talked about my thing with COVID and whether or not I had it or not. But Gilster, Twitch. Twitch is just like YouTube, except it's a lot more for live and gaming. A lot of people don't go on Twitch and rewatch things. I mean, for example, I have 1,000 viewers or 1,000 people follow me on YouTube, and 70 people follow me on Twitch. I don't know how many views I got tonight from this. I usually get anywhere between 40 and 80 views from doing it live. And then I get anywhere in the next week, another 40 to 60 views, people watching it afterwards. On Twitch, I get 0 to 3 people watching it afterwards. Now, I know I have a lot less people following me, but still, like, you got to figure, you know, of those, let's say I have 40 views, 10 of them are regulars that are here every week. You know, the other 10 are probably, you know, another group of 20 people that are either here or not here. And then, you know, the other 20 views are people that just checking out to see what's going on, came on for who's ever on, or just showed up in their stream, just happened to hit it. You know, and then the rest of the views are, you know, the same, people catching it the next day or the next couple of days when it's been on. You know, it just shows up for other people. You know, Twitch, you don't really have that. Like, you don't have, if someone's watching something else, this can start playing once it rolls over. Twitch, it doesn't go like that. Like, you watch something on Twitch, it's done. But yeah, when it was going on, it was really frustrating because it was like, if I had it, I shouldn't have been at work. So I wasn't allowed to work. And I work in the hospitality industry. So I go into work at my job and I have to do a checklist, like a health checklist, to see, do you have any of these symptoms or any of these things so that you may be sick? And now they've added the whole COVID thing to it. So it was like, you know, any like respiratory problems. Okay, yes. So now, because I couldn't have a COVID test done to show if I've had it or don't have it, and then if I had a COVID test done and it was positive, and then I get another test done and it's negative, I could return back to work. All right, Gilster, take it easy, brother. Thank you for stopping by. We'll see you on the flip, brother. My Sunday video was 3 hours. I saw it 3 hours later. Yeah. You know, I mean, I like people here because it's a way to, that's what I do. I want to talk about Star Wars with people. I'm here to make Star Wars friends. I want to know your opinion, whether you agree with me or disagree with me. And you can say this movie was the worst movie in the world. You wish it was never made. But if you can be respectful and tell me reasons why, or this character this or this character that, we can have a conversation about it and still not agree at all 100% and think the other person's 100% wrong, but still be friends afterwards because we're respectful and everybody's got their own opinion. You know, I mean, that's fine. But, oh yeah, Pauline, I still have to respond to your questions. I saw those. I haven't responded to them yet. What were you talking about? What was, I guess I can do it now. I'll still put it on there. But what was your, your question about the Knights of Ren that you had. Yeah, like I haven't been to work in 2 months, so I don't know if they're doing like they used to ask us, do you have a fever? Have you had a fever in the last 72 hours? I don't know if they have the temperature thing now and they're actually checking or not. But like if you lied about it, like let's say I went to the doctor and the doctor, and the doctor's like, oh, you have a temperature, and I told someone at work and they found out about it, they'd fire you. But I mean, they can't get your medical record, so whatever. But I don't know what I was saying. I was talking about Pauline's question. Your question was about the Knights of Ren on Mustafar, and I think it was something about that video. But while you're going to respond to what I'm asking you about that, if you're referring to that book, that's all the art books. The majority of the art book is concept art. So they say, hey, we want to see what it would look like to have, in our imagination, we want this. So give us this. And then they have artists put on, on paper, we're just going to say on paper, what they want and what they think they want. And, they'll have 10 different artists doing the same picture 10 different ways and be like, yep, that's how we want it. That's what we want to do. So there's a lot of stuff. Hang on. Excuse me. There's a lot of stuff in that book that never took place. Like with Kylo Ren and the spider that comes out of the baby head. There was a lot of that. That was the Oracle that we heard about and that they talked about. So what's wrong, Boo Boo? They said this is an idea we have, and we want to see, you do these pictures of the Oracle, and it was like a baby doll's head coming out of a pond with a spider that grew out of it, and it was kind of freaky. And some of the pictures looked really nasty and disgusting, like in a good way because that's what they wanted it to look like, and some of them just kind of looked creepy, like a plastic baby doll head with a spider crawling out of it. But yeah, so it's like I think you asked about the Knights of Ren, and if the Knights of Ren on Exegol, the Knights of Ren on Mandalore. The movie starts off on Mandalore with Kylo going to get the, I almost said the Holochronicle, the Holocron, or whatever it was. And, that was when we first saw those pictures, we thought the people on Mandalore that he was fighting were not Mandalore. Why the hell am I saying Mandalore? That's where the Mandalorians are. Mustafar. Mustafar, people. Mustafar is what I mean. So he's fighting the people that live on Mustafar because Mustafar is now healing itself. That's why you see trees and everything there. It's no longer a dead planet. Those trees grew pretty quick, but that's neither here nor there. Star Wars, who really cares how fast the trees grow? And, so we thought that we didn't know what it was fighting. So the movie starts off on Mustafar, and that's where he goes and gets the holocron. And he's fighting the people that live on Mustafar. And then later on, when he is on Exegol, he fights the Knights of Ren. I don't remember if that's what your question was or if that helps you out at all. It's one of those things. We don't know it's Mustafar that he's on. If you're just the casual Star Wars fan, it doesn't matter what planet he's on. It's us people that have been sitting here talking for 3 hours about toys and books and art and 12-inch Baby Yoda Yoju Childs. But yeah, if you guys ever have a question, you can go to TMT Bacta Tank at gmail.com and send it to me there. or DM me. I check my DMs. I know Pauline doesn't have Twitter, so emailing me would be the easiest way, or ask me the question on YouTube, and I will get back to you. I was busy the last couple of days, so I didn't get back. That's why I talked to you about it. But I will give you a. I wasn't really sure about your question. I was going to answer it today, and I just got busy and forgot, honestly. So that's the whole thing. But yeah, but I think that's going to do it for today. Mr. Rez, happy birthday. Rez put in there for the Great Council. Go follow the Great Council. Darth Daddy Lunga on Twitter. He's giving away a copy of the game. Boom, there you go. All you got to do, a couple seconds worth of work. Subscribe to his newsletter, you get points. Subscribe on Twitch, you get points. Subscribe on YouTube, you get points. You got to be in it to win it. Hit up all three. Take a minute or two and do that shit. And, yeah. So with that, I say good day. May the force be with you. Always. Happy birthday, Mr. Rez. Happy birthday, Mr. Rez. Happy birthday.